Happy holidays. Happy holidays. It's Thursday night football. Watch along with Frankie on Thursday night football. Man, it's the day after Christmas, and here we are with yet another NFL football game. The NFL is taking over the holidays, they're taking over Christmas. Used to, the NBA would dominate Christmas, but now it's the NFL. Big time ratings. They got huge ratings on the for the NFL on Christmas yesterday. So we're gonna get even more Christmas games in the future. You can bet on that. You can be assured that we're gonna get even more Christmas games in the future. We might add a third. Who knows? Maybe even a fourth. But for now, it's the day after Christmas, and we got the Seattle Sea Chickens, 8-7, going against your Chicago Bears. They're 4-11, just like your Jetsies. And so we get to watch a former New York Jet, Geno Smith, come out and play against the young phenom, Caleb Williams. Can he continue improving in his rookie season? Does he have it in him? Is he going to be a big time like a lot of people are hoping? Or what's going to happen. Now, the Seattle Seahawks are they're going for the playoffs. Bears not going for no playoffs. Playoffs? Playoffs? Well, the Seahawks are trying to get into the playoffs, but the Bears, they're just playing to hope Caleb Williams gets better and evaluate their young talent for next year. Flight Right 49 is here. I'm going to overlay the chat, I think. Maybe. What's up, Flight Right 49? If you're going to fly, you might as well fly right. Right, Flight Right? That's the way I see it. Happy holidays, Flight Right. What if we do the overlay? Try that one. See how that looks. See how we like that. But then we also need uh, something like this. How about this one? We're liking that. There's always this one to change that and put up a little logo. How about that? And then go to the chat. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Flight Right 49 49. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Flight Right. Chat, people in chat. Let me know if the microphone's working. We sometimes have technical issues on this here channel. So always got to check it out. Never know when things are going to crap out on you. Flight Right wants to know, how was my Christmas? It was excellent. We watched some football. We enjoyed some chat with some of the folks. Uh, he says, I'm good. Okay, good. Good, good, good. All good, good here down in Florida now. And one of the things I noticed, it's Christmas time, of course, it's late December, and I'm still wearing shorts as I go outside, which is one of the very nice things about being in Florida for the holiday time. No snow. It's very pleasant. You can go out in the evenings in shorts and maybe a sweatshirt, and you're good to go. So, that's one of the nice things about living down here. It's a little rough in the summertime, but in the wintertime, it's a beautiful thing. A lot of people out of this game for both the Bears and the Sea Chickens. So, as per usual with the football team, everybody injured, especially late in the season. And kind of interesting that we got the Seahawks and we got the Bears tonight. One of the big news items this week, maybe Pete Carroll wants to get back into it. Old 73-year-old gum chomping Pete Carroll looking to get back into coaching. People say he's got the energy of a 35-year-old. The man is 73. But the interesting thing, of course, former head coach of the Seattle Seahawks for a long, long time, had a lot of success. One Super Bowl win, um, one Super Bowl loss, as I recall. Should have run Marshawn Lynch, but you know. And one of the jobs that he's most interested in, the reporting is saying, the Chicago Bears. He's liking Chicago, and so of course he should be on our list for our job. I think because you got to talk to a guy like Pete Carroll had that much success. Yeah, Seattle Seahawks, University of South California, Southern California, USC has had success pretty much everywhere that he's gone. So I think if he's interested in our job, we got to at least interview him, take a meeting, let's have a chat, let's talk about it, and see what's up. But very interesting that Pete Carroll's in the news now, wanting to get back in. 73 years old, only been out of the league for 1 year. Big culture guy, big culture guy, Pete Carroll, and we need a big culture change, of course. And of course, he has a tie to the Jets, former head coach of the Jets for a short period of time way back in the day. We got rid of him for some reason, and so it'll be interesting to see if he winds up on our list. He's a guy we could talk to early because he's not associated with any of the clubs, as far as I know, unless he has some kind of agreement with the Seahawks where he's still employed by them. Then I guess we do have to wait. He might be actually, but we'll have to see about old Gum Chomper himself, the Gum Chomper in chief, Pete Carroll. Is he going to want to come back? So we'll have to see. Now, some of the games yesterday were not very competitive, unfortunately. Um, the Steelers did not acquit themselves very well, and seems like they might be uh, falling back to earth after a very hot start to the season with old Russell Wilson, the former Seattle Seahawk quarterback, of course. Now, uh, you know, now heading up the Pittsburgh Steelers and been playing very well. Did not play very well in that game at all. Had a couple of decent throws, but that was really it. The most majority of the game was no bueno for Mister Russell Wilson. And of course, his backup is Justin Fields. Now, Justin Fields, former Chicago Bear, there's all kinds of Bears and Seahawks connections in the news this week. But Justin Fields will be one of the options that the Jets will have for quarterback if Aaron Rodgers does not come back for next year. So that's something we might have to grapple with in the offseason once we figure out who's going to be the GM, who's going to be the head coach, what's the plan going forward. Then those people are going to have to decide who's going to be the quarterback. Do we want it to be Aaron Rodgers? And if with Aaron Rodgers probably comes Devontae Adams. But without Aaron Rodgers, probably don't bring back Devontae Adams. And so a lot of questions to be answered in the off season. Especially for your New York Jets. And so it's always interesting to keep an eye on all these other teams. And I think that's something we'll do more of on this channel is a little bit broadening out the content because after all, if we just keep it on the Jets, we might get very, very depressed, and we don't want to do that, especially in the holiday season. We don't want to succumb to bouts of depression because the Jets are so horrible, and we're only keeping our eye on the Jets. So we'll keep our eye on the Seahawks and the Bears and the Steelers and the Chiefs and whoever else we feel like keeping our eye on because why not? It also helps us to keep a good perspective on what's going on around the league, and then we can relate back to the Jets after all. If we only myopically focus on the Jets, you get a very different thing going on because you don't understand context. You don't know what other teams are doing. You can't compare and contrast what's going on with this team or that team or whatever, and you don't know what's normal. So, um, I think we'll just continue to broaden the content on this channel right here, the old Frankie from Flatbush channel. If you're in the chat, feel free to click the like button if you wouldn't mind. Helps with the old algorithm. If you're new around here, give me a subscribe. Why not? Doesn't cost you anything. Trying to increase our subscribers, eventually get up to 1,000. That would be super nice. But if you don't mind, I'd appreciate it. At least click the like button. If you're already a subscriber, click the bell. Click all the buttons. Why not? There's buttons. You click them. Why not? Doesn't hurt. And you know, if you click the bell, apparently you will certainly get notified when there's a new video coming up. And so you might be interested in doing that. So that's a way to do that. Otherwise, just give it a thumbs up. That way, the algorithm knows there's people who actually care about old Frankie on YouTube, also simultaneously broadcasting to X and Rumble. So if you're watching on Rumble, feel free to send a chat in. We'll see if I can actually see Rumble chats in my little display here. I don't know if that's the case. So if you're watching on Rumble for some reason, uh, feel free to send in a comment so I can see if I can see it. I wonder if I have to change this. Maybe, maybe not. But that's another option. And Rumble, of course, is a competitor to YouTube. We'll see how well they do over time. YouTube has such an advantage over anybody like Rumble because of how big they are, how many products they have, and so forth and so on. YouTube, of course, owned by Google and Alphabet. So a huge, huge company. So anybody who wants to try and compete with them is gonna be like good luck with that. But you never know. I like Rumble. I like competition. So we'll have to see. But the game should be starting in about 3 minutes or so. Thursday night football, the day after Thanksgiving, the middle of the holidays. Happy holidays to everybody. Hope everybody's having a great holiday season with your friends and your family and all of that. Um, we'll try to keep an eye right here on this ball game tonight. The development of Caleb Williams being first and foremost. But if you think about it, if we don't go to Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, let's say we bring in a guy like Justin Fields, what would happen then? Well, it would be interesting because I would think that you still have Tyrod Taylor under contract. You could go with a three-way competition: Tyrod Taylor, Justin Fields, and let's not forget Jordan Travis. Travis probably not expected to be at the same level of those other two, but you can just have a three-way competition and say it's open competition. We're let the best man win and go that way. And there's not a lot of great options, so Justin Fields might be the best option to bring in for competition, see what he can do, see what the new offensive coordinator, the new staff can do with him. That could be an option if we decide to go other than if we decide we don't want Aaron Rodgers back, or if Aaron Rodgers decides he doesn't want to be back in one way or another. Maybe he wants to retire. Maybe he wants to go on to another team. We don't know. Infrared is here. Happy holidays, Infrared. Good to see you, buddy. Um, but that would be interesting if we went into training camp and had a three-way competition: Tyrod Taylor, Justin Fields, and Jordan Travis. Let the best man win. Well, could be something we do. Sign Justin to a short-term deal and say, listen, you're going to have a shot to start here. You might not have that shot at other places, so he might be amenable to maybe an incentive-laden deal where if he wins the starting job and he starts a certain amount of games, he makes more money. It could be a cost-effective option. See what he's got. Maybe he's matured, sitting behind Russell Wilson. Maybe he's one of these guys who it just takes a little while. I mean, you look at Geno Smith playing tonight. You look at Sam Darnold playing for the Vikings. Sam Darnold is a dark horse candidate for MVP even, and that team is winning a lot of games with him playing very well. And maybe Justin Fields, maybe Fields is sort of in that camp where he can improve and All the things he wasn't doing well on Chicago, maybe with a little maturity, a little bit of time away, a little bit of time as a backup, maybe we could find a diamond in the rough. Why can't it be us? Why not us once in a while? Why is it always got to be us getting rid of a guy and then they go somewhere else and be good? Why can't we run that situation the other way where we benefit from it? That could be something. But all to be decided after we get a GM and after we get a head coach, and we figure out what we're doing on offense, what are we doing on defense, what are we doing on special teams, what's really going on. All right, the game's about to start here. It looks like the Bears are going to kick off to the Seahawks. So this game is in Chicago, Soldier Field. That's a team that needs to get a new stadium, I believe. The Bears. They want a new stadium. Oh, that's a terrible kick. That's not going to work. Oh, did it stay in? Oh, it looked like it did. That was a weird one, but I guess it went into the end zone. So out come the Seattle Seahawks, led by Laken Tomlinson. By the way, I don't know if you guys have looked at the ratings of Laken Tomlinson. He's played much better for the Seahawks than he played for us last year. So another guy who leaves us and plays very well. And it seems to happen a lot. When guys are on our team, they stink. Hey, we get rid of them. We say, this guy's a bum. Get him out of here. And they go to some other team and perform quite well. That's very depressing. That's what happened with Lakin. I mean, that guy couldn't block anything when he was on our team, but now he's with the Seahawks and he's just fine. So it starts off with Gino in the shotgun, throws over to Lockett toward the left-hand side. Nice tackle there by the defensive back. Gain of about 2 or 3 yards. Not a big gainer. A little wide receiver smoke. Smoke out to Tyler Lockett. Try to get a few yards there. Didn't work too well, but did get a few yards on first down. Now it'll be 2nd down and 7. First down, you really want to get at least 4 yards would be the minimum you want to try and get on a first down play. They only got 3 on that one. Thomas Brown, interim head coach of the Bears. He also could become the head coach of the Bears. Now Smith under center, and he hands off to Charbonnet. Oh, and he breaks a few tackles, gets close to the 30-yard line, about a yard short of a first down. Nice run by Charbonnet. You always want to have a nice Charbonnet, with some nice steak for dinner, and get a little Charbonnet. It's a nice combination for dinner. So it'll be 3rd down and 1 for the Seahawks. They do have Olu Oluwatimi as their center, if you may remember him coming out. He's the second other player in the NFL named Olu, although he has a longer name, just like our Olu. Now they got 12 or 13. That's actually 13 personnel. Give it to Charbonnet for a couple of yards, first down. See, they bring in 13 personnel and they can actually run it. We try that and we get stuffed. But they ran it, got the first down. Good job by Charbonnet. Yeah, well, when you got Charbonnet, reminds you of Chardonnay. That's the way it goes, flight right. So first down. So Seattle able to move the ball. Now you got Geno Smith in the shotgun, a 2-by-1 formation with 11 personnel, and he runs out of that. Charbonnet gets the ball again, and he breaks 1, 2, 3 tackles and gets a first down. That's some good hard running by 26 Charbonnet to get a first down on first down. That's a beautiful run. Good job, buddy. Out of 11, utilizing an inline blocking tight end on this play. And they were able to block it up well. He found the hole, and boom, there it goes. Breaks a tackle or two. A little stiff arm action. First down. Now they're changing the play out of 11 personnel. Now this team, of course, has 3 really good wide receivers, including Jackson Smith and Jigba, former teammate of Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. They throw it out to Noah Fant, and he's able to grab about 15 yards. So they're moving the ball pretty well now. Is Seattle. Geno looking in command, looking good. A few good runs, a couple of good passes. All right, now we're moving the chains. Got the Bears back on their heels, looking good. Smith and Jigba on that one, used as a blocker. Get that defensive back out of here. And does a nice job on him. clear the path for the receiver. Oh, Jacob Martin is also on the Bears as well. That's a former Jet right there, 55, Jake Martin. 12 personnel now out of the under center. He hands it to the running back. That's not Charbonnet. Gets a few yards there. McIntosh. You got a Charbonnet and a Macintosh apple as your running backs. A good apple and a Chardonnay. That's a good combo. That's a good combo. So 2nd and 8 now. Seattle driving on their first drive. Lakin Tomlinson's number 70, left guard. Good old Lakin. Play poorly for us, play great for them. That's how it works. Well, 11 personnel, but now he's under center. The strong part of the formation is the right hand side. Tight splits. It's another run right up the middle, and he's got a big hole. There he goes. McIntosh. He's taking the apple all the way down to the 15-yard line. Nice run by McIntosh, but even better blocking. Let's watch this blocking scheme here as the Bears went to sort of like a 3-4 formation almost, although Martin was on the field. The nose tackle was right over the center in a zero tech. Out of the shotgun now, another running play to McIntosh, and he's not able to get too much on this one. Maybe a yard or two on that. So it'll be 2nd down and 8 or 9 or so. And out goes McIntosh. In comes Chardonnay. And they're showing how they were not able to run the ball last week. Now they're running it down their throats. So you got to wonder about these Bears defenders late in the season. Nothing on the line. You know, how ferocious they're going to be. Meanwhile, the Seahawks have all the incentive in the world. They want to knock your block off because they're trying to make the playoffs. Gino now fakes a pass, gives it to Charbonnet, gets about 6 or 7 yards right up the middle. So they're really running it up the gut on them. You know, really trying to impose their will upon this Chicago Bear defense, and they're so far doing a good job of just that. I would continue running the ball, see what they're able to do here. Showing Geno Smith's red zone passing, 51% completions. No bueno. Got to do better than that, Geno. Come on now. But it's 3rd and 3 now. There's no running back in the backfield. They split. They do a 2-by-3 formation out of 11 personnel. So let's see. Geno goes back to pass, throws it over the middle. Oh, he almost threw a pick. That really should have been picked off. And also, as I said, you should have run the ball, you dummies. Smith, they showed the statistics. Smith struggling in the red zone. Of course, in a condensed area like the red zone, it gets actually harder. And that was just passes like that. You wonder what in the world the quarterback's looking at. The man was double covered. The coverage people were like 1 or 2 steps away. There was just basically no way he could get it in there, and he tried and got lucky. The guy dropped it. Jason Myers, ever reliable, kicks a field goal. There's a former Jet right there. Jason Myers kicks a field goal. They get 3 in the rain and cold of Chicago. And so the Bears defense able to hold up in the red zone. So now we'll see the number 1 overall, Caleb Williams. Can he continue his improvement this year as a rookie? Are they going to keep Thomas Brown as the head coach? That's a man who went from quarterback coach to offensive coordinator to head coach all in one season. That's a little unusual. And there were some media reports this week, I think on Christmas Day, actually. One of the commentators said the Bears will never be good unless the McCaskies sell the team. And I think some of the other hosts on the program were quite surprised to hear that from somebody on the panel. You usually don't hear blatant disrespect for the owners of a team on television just like that. So that's an interesting one because the McCaskies have owned the Bears for a very, very long time. Been in the familia for a long, long time. Smith and Jigba Does poorly for most games, unfortunately. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't score enough touchdowns, infrared, but he's got a lot of catches and a lot of yards. I noticed. I think he's like, isn't he ninth in the league in yards or so? I was looking at something where he was up there on a list. Maybe he doesn't score enough touchdowns for fantasy. Now that's a problem for fantasy, right? Because they got DK Metcalf, they got Smith and Jigba, and then they got Lockett, right? So they got a lot of targets to go around. But as far as regular football, you love to have a guy like Smith and Jigba. It's one of those things. You want a guy to be on a high-powered offense. But if you're on a high-powered offense, that usually means you have two or three other dudes, wide receivers on your team that enable the offense to run well. But maybe your guy doesn't get enough targets, maybe doesn't get enough touchdown, red zone looks, and that sort of thing. So it may not be good for fantasy, but certainly good for real life. That's a tricky thing. That's a tricky thing. Sometimes real life and fantasy are diametrically opposed. But, so they're saying the same thing about Chicago. So one thing about the Chicago Bears is they're very much like the Jets. And now it is raining pretty hard, it looks like, in Chicago. And it looks pretty cold and pretty rainy there. So pretty miserable in Chicago. Meanwhile, down here in Florida, it's 70 degrees and beautiful. So Myers now kick off. And then so that's an interesting thing about the Bears, right? The Bears are like the Jets in a lot of ways. Now they're one of the uh, what do you call them? The blue blood franchises in the league. Brian Goodstein's here. Good to see you, Brian. So they're different than the Jets. The Jets were, part of the AFL and all that. The Chicago Bears are one of the blue bloods, just like the Giants. But in a lot of ways, they're like the Jets in that they have not had a lot of winning seasons, a lot of playoff success or Super Bowls other than 1985, which is getting a long time now. 1985 was a long time ago, and they really haven't, been able to put it together since then. They haven't been able to have quarterback success going all the way back because Jim McMahon was not a great quarterback even in that 85 team. Now Caleb Williams under center, man in motion, right to left. He hands off to the running back, Swift, who swiftly gets tackled after a gain of 2 yards. Only has 6 tutties. Yeah, so that's his problem on fantasy, I guess, Infrared. They're not finding him for touchdowns. I mean, DK Metcalf, you get down to the red zone, I'd say throw it to DK. You know what I mean? Just that's going to be my touchdown target. If I have a choice, give it to DK. That man's a monster. All right, so Caleb Williams, he likes to chew on his mouth guard for some reason, even while he's playing. So that's a little unusual there from Caleb. Another handoff right down the middle. So third down now, be third and medium, third and 4 or 5 or so. That was Rojo, Roshan Johnson out of University of Texas. Third and 5. So let's see what they have dialed up here for Caleb. Can he convert on third down? You want to see these quarterbacks. One of the key things to focus on with young quarterbacks or any quarterback really. How often are they converting on third and fourth down? So here's a third and 5. Let's see if Caleb can convert it. These are the tougher ones. Looking, throws, no bueno. So that was looking shoddy right from the beginning because he did a couple of hitches, and then when he finally got rid of it, it looked like his mechanics were off a bit, and he threw high, no bueno. So, Caleb not able to convert. Let's see if he had a guy open. He just kind of overthrew him. That's not good. He's hopping around back there, throws it kind of sidearm and not on target. So Venom's here. Everybody hit the like button. Yeah, please do hit the like button if you're in here. We'd appreciate it. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the bell if you are subscribed. Hit all the buttons. Why not? Good to see Venom AD. Yeah, Metcalf it is. Infrared says, yeah, that's the problem. And Tyler Lockett is an underrated receiver as well. Always has been. He gets a big salary, but you know, uh, most a lot of people don't uh, recognize him as a high quality wide receiver, but he certainly is. So you got three of them, which is great for your offense, but maybe not so great for old fantasy purposes. You really people say that You're only as good as your third wide receiver, and I believe that you need at least three. That's really the problem with the Jets. If we lose, let's say we say, Aaron Rodgers, get out of here. You're too old. You're too injured. Not good enough. Get out of here. Okay, well then Devontae Adams probably leaving, and Alan Lazard's leaving, which nobody would shed a tear over. But at the same time, then we got Garrett Wilson and a bunch of nothing. So now we got one wide receiver, and we got to replenish that room significantly. Maybe the new coach will see something in Malachi Corley that they can use. Let's hope and pray. But other than that, we don't got a lot. So it'll be very easy if Devontae leaves. It'll be very easy, well, depending on how we replace him, of course. Be very easy for other teams to double team and triple team and quadruple team Garrett. He thinks it's bad now. Wait till Devontae leaves, and he doesn't have Corey Davis, and he doesn't have Alan Lazard. He doesn't have this or that. He's gonna get double, triple, quadruple teamed. They're gonna say stop Garrett Wilson, no matter what. So, well, depends on how we replace him, I guess. But yeah, that's these young quarterbacks, third down, third and medium, third and long. That's how you're going to judge them. They got to convert those on a consistent basis. What we saw there is a lot like what we saw with Spencer Rattler when we were watching the New Orleans Saints game against the Packers. You notice he would get to third down, and then every time the pass would be high, every single time. Infrared, do you think Jets will let go of Gibson, replace him with Charles Brownlee? That's a bunch of nothings right there, Infrared. No, we're not going to let those guys go. Gibson's on the roster. He'll stick around. It's just a matter of what role he's going to play. Brownlee is nothing. Brownlee is nothing. Oh, Brownlee is nothing. Irv Charles is a special teams player. You can't count on them developing because if they could develop, they'd be developed already and they'd be getting a role. So the answer is you can't count on it for sure. Um, Geno Smith stumbles. That's going to be a sack. That's a convenient sack for Sweat. Guy stumbles, you touch him, you get a sack. That's nice. So no good, no good there for Geno. He stumbled in the rain. See what happened here. His footwork got all messed up. Oh, he stepped on the running back's foot. That's no bueno. Can't be doing that. But it happens sometimes. But yeah, so those guys, I mean, you could hope they become something, but right now they're just absolutely nothing. Could they develop? Yeah, Denzel Mims could develop too, but guess what? He didn't. Geno Smith now throws outside to Charbonnet, gets a good gainer here, and gets close to the original line of scrimmage here. So it's be third and at least manageable after that unfortunate sack. Brownlee did score against the Redskins. That's nothing, Infrared. You can't count. He did one play. That means nothing, Infrared. In the grand scheme of things, it means nothing. If he could have developed, he would have already. We cut him and put him on the P squad. That's what we did. If he could really do something, he would be doing something. Most guys, that's the way it is. I'm not going to fall for this Denzel Mims stuff again. I'm not doing it, Fred. I'm not doing it, man. I'm not. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, man. Geno Smith now back to pass, and again, third and 7, no bueno. Misses the target, got a punt. Yeah, Brian. I mean, that's something to think about because I put out a short video about how Rodgers and Adams are probably a package deal because those guys, as we all know, are very close friends. And even last year, before when he was on the Raiders, when the Jets played the Raiders, and Rodgers was injured with the Achilles, he met with Adams for dinner before the game. One of the nights before the game, and had like a 4-hour dinner with him, chit chatting about God knows what. So those two are very, very close friends. And so they probably want to play together, either here or somewhere else. So if we want to get rid of Rodgers, it's probably getting rid of Adams too. Probably. And you notice Adams is on the injury report again, this week with a hip. And then if you watch that documentary series called Receiver, you notice that Devontae Adams played with a lot of injuries when he was on the Raiders as well. He had a shoulder and this and that. Now he's got a hip. They might want to find some place where they have natural grass to play on, for example, instead of playing on our frozen concrete bullshit stadium field. They might want to say, look, we're getting older. We can't play on this surface if we're going to play at all. That could be something that they think about and consider. Caleb Williams now, a little fake handoff, now throws it out to DJ Moore. That's a nice safe pass. So there's a well designed play right there. Very well done on first down. Good gainer. But yeah, I'm not gonna hold stock in all these people because like a Brownlee, a Gibson. What about Brendan Smith? I mean, you can't count on these people. If they could do something, the likelihood is that they would have done it already. I don't know how Caleb Williams plays with that chewing on that thing with his mouth guard outside of his mouth. Very strange, but it works for him. Looks good on you, though, as they say. Second and one. Now he fakes a handoff, looks downfield, and checks it down for a gain of maybe one. They probably give it to him with forward progress. Yeah, so that'll be a first down, I guess. Yeah, infrared, but I mean, we said the same things about Mims, remember? I'm not falling for this again, infrared. Remember what we said about Denzel Mims? We said the same exact things. And then he went to the Lions and they couldn't figure out how to use him. And then he went to the Steelers, they couldn't figure out how to use him. And then he went to the Jaguars and they said, get out of here. So I'm not falling for a banana in the tailpipe again. I'm not. We said the same things, infrared. So this coaching staff isn't good, but at the same time, they've been around the NFL a long time, many of them. So they're not complete dunderheads. I think we need, I think we need better, but at the same time, we said the same things about Denzel Mims and all that, and I'm not falling for that again. If those guys become something, great, but I'm not expecting it. Now Williams on 2nd and 5. Oof, that was no bueno. All right, now 3rd and 5. All right, let's see what Caleb can do here. Probably one of the first mistakes we probably made was firing Mike LaFleur too soon. Probably just should have held on to him, all things considered. In retrospect, he doesn't look so bad. I mean, we tried Hackett, we tried Downing, all these people who have great experience, and they're not doing much, even with a Hall of Fame quarterback now. So, you know, they bring the blitz. Oh, man, see, 3rd and 5. Now, that wasn't terrible. He went to his hot read on a blitz, but it was not a great throw. Guy could have caught it, but still would have been short of the sticks anyway. Now, Seattle brings a blitz. I love this amoeba look that they give. They bring it. Everybody comes. They get in his face, make him get rid of it, and make him throw it off target. Let's see. Oh, the receiver should have had that for sure. But even if he catches it, he's going to be short of the sticks. So good defensive plan there by Mike McDonald. Old McDonald had a farm, and then he had a football team. And so Bears to punt once more. Oh, nice tackle by number 10, Scott. Good job, 10. Attaboy, 10. Like, this is a good case in point. This kid, Scott, on the Bears. This is a wide receiver, number 10. He's on special teams now. He makes this great tackle here. So good job, Scott. But they were super excited to get that kid uh, when they did a wide receiver. They thought he was going to be great. Great speed, this, that, and the other thing. And he hasn't done anything as a wide receiver. Now he's on special teams, you know? So you just never know with these guys. It's like the Packers and Amari Rogers. The Packers were thrilled to get Amari Rogers when they got him. And he turned out he stinks. Couldn't even play special teams. You know, Infrared says we're looking into Cousins. Well, who's we? We don't even have a general manager, Infrared. Sometimes you got to be careful what you're reading. We're gonna do a lot of deep dives on this channel on the media. Don't you worry. Glightwright says, "I love the Mike LaFleur offense." Yeah, I mean, it's just so hard to know when you don't have the quarterback and you don't have the offensive line and things are just not working. Who to scapegoat? And he got scapegoated, obviously, and now he's over in L.A. and he's under McVay's wing, and McVay calls the plays. But a lot of people are saying LaFleur's going to get an OC job, or and eventually maybe a head coach job, Mike LaFleur. You know, and that team has a good play caller in McVay. They have they have veteran quarterback with Stafford. They have the wide receivers, Nakua and Cup and all that. So they look a lot. They look competent. We had Zach Wilson and a rebuilding line and a very injured offensive line most of the time, and no tight ends, and all this stuff. And AVT kept getting injured, um, and so forth and so on. And he got scapegoated. Does that mean he was perfect? No, but should he have gotten fired? I mean, you know, things did not get better after he left. So, and we got a better quarterback. Well, kind of did. This year we did. Last year we got snake bit. Last year we got the Jets' snake eyes of injury bug with Rodgers getting the Achilles and all. But nonetheless, everything's got to work in tandem. But for the most part, I want a coaching staff who's going to be less stubborn than what we've seen, and who's going to adapt to the players that you have. Like for example, if let's say we go the Justin Fields route, let's say that's the decision we make, and we bring him in and we say, okay, you're going to compete with Tyrod and Jordan Taylor, okay, and he wins the competition in training camp, let's say. Well, if we have Justin Fields, you have to have a certain kind of an offense to make him successful. There are certain things that Justin Fields can do. Man, this Macintosh is running hard for Seattle, doing a good job. Right, there's certain things that Justin Fields can do. You're going to have to run an RPO offense for him. He's going to have running quarterback power, quarterback running is going to have to be a big part of the offense. RPOs are going to have to be a big part of the offense. Probably one or two reads, and that's it. And then he runs. That's got to be the offense. So you need a coaching staff where it goes, okay, if we have Justin, that's what we're going to do. But if we have Tyrod, this is what we're going to do. If we have Aaron Rodgers, this is what we're going to do. And you need to have enough flexibility in your game planning and in your playbook that you adjust to the players that you have in order to make them as successful as they can possibly be. So that's the only thing I want out of my coaching staff, to look at the talent we have and coach it up to the point where they can contribute. If they don't have the ability to contribute at all, then just get rid of them. They don't need to be here. But if they have the talent to be here, you look at them and you figure out what to do with them. The Philadelphia Eagles got hold of Mekhi Becton and they said, you know what? We got a need at guard. You're going to play guard, Mekhi. And they coached him up to where he's a good guard now. He's probably making the Pro Bowl, maybe. Jacob Martin with a nice rush there. Smith escapes and whoa, that was a bad decision, Gino. Just run. You only need 2 yards for the first down. Instead, you're going to make a wild throw behind a guy. Just run for the damn first down. So JoJo says you need flexibility. Yeah, I agree, JoJo, 100%. You need to be flexible because everybody has tape. Everybody's got tape the minute you do it. They know it. It's not like the old days. So Gino with another bad pass on third down, incomplete, threw it behind Jackson and Jigba. Smith and Jigba. Nice play by number 6 there. Fighting for it. Now they got a punt. All right, so now the Bears should get some good field position here this time. Let's see what Caleb can do with some good field position. 2:15 left in the first quarter. Oh, that's a nice punt. Not that great a field position there at the 31-yard line. No return on that one. Fair catch. Good punt by Dixon. Dixon the Kickson. So, but yeah, I mean, I think you do need flexibility. You need to be able to adapt. You need to be able to give unscouted looks. Everybody's scouting you hard. If you just run the same old stuff, they're going to know what it is immediately. And they're going to know how to react and they're going to know what to do. So you need to be adaptable, flexible. You need flexibility in your game planning. You need to be able to adapt to the personnel that you have. I mean, What happens if you have your backup come in, your backup quarterback? If first guy gets injured, you need to be able to adapt your game plans to what the backup can do. Usually, your backup's not going to have the same skill set that your starter's going to have. So you need to be able to adapt to that because these guys get hurt all the time. The concussion protocol is a real thing now as opposed to back in the day. So guys are going to be out. Here's a nice flip pass. That flip run that did not work. Devin Witherspoon, nice play, penetrating there and made a tackle. That's about a 5 yard loss. Going to be second and long now. It's always nice when you can have a defensive back with the attack and tackling ability of a Devin Witherspoon. You gotta love it. Look at 21. Click and close. Let me get there. Boom. Nice job, 21. That's some teach tape right there. That's what we need right there. Attaboy, 21. Now a quick pass out to DJ Moore. Oh, nice. Picks up a nice gainer there. Gets back some of that yardage and more. So now it'll be third and manageable. But you notice for Caleb, they're doing these little screens and bubble screens and smoke routes. They're not really making him get into the pocket and doing real quarterbacking just yet. And maybe this is part of the game plan. Maybe this is how you stair step him confidence wise. Maybe this is what he can do right now. You know, tailor the game plan to what he can do. So now again, amoeba front, nice. They only bring four this time, Caleb. Oh, come on, man. This is bad. What are you doing, 18? And he's blaming the wide receiver. He had a wide open wide receiver, 3rd and 6. He had him, and he threw it over his head. What is he doing? And that's Odunze, his favorite buddy, his favorite wide receiver buddy. Let's look. Wide open, boom, just hit him, put it on him. What are we doing? Oh, maybe he's saying he didn't run. He stopped. He kind of stopped. Maybe he should have kept going. But either way, it's over his head. Yeah, that's what he's saying. But you still threw it over his head, Caleb. It's no bueno. But either way, not on the same page. So maybe he was supposed to stop. He didn't. Caleb didn't think so. So miscommunication. You see how hard it is for these quarterbacks, man. It's not just the Jets. Infrared says our running back numbers were bad. Is Keith Carter in the hot seat? Well, Keith Carter's going to be gone. Infrared. The whole coaching staff is gone. We're not. Everybody going to get fired. We're not. We're bringing in a new head coach. He's going to want his own coaches. So he's not going to want Keith Carter. Keith Carter's gone. Though the offensive line has played pretty well, if you think about it. As soon as we got Tyron Smith out of there, that old man who apparently fell off a cliff, as soon as Olu got in there, things started looking pretty good. And now Olu's injured, unfortunately. Do you know Smith with a hot route over to DK trucks somebody? DK was like, I need to get into this game. Let me truck this dude. Um, so, yeah, Keith Carter's gone. He's not on the hot seat. He's going to be gone. They're all gone. Most likely. I mean, sometimes the new head coach says, yeah, I'll keep this one or that one. But for the most part, they're all going to be gone because the new head coach is going to want his guys, you know. So Keith Carter's out of here, almost certainly. But we do have a running back coach. Now we have been throwing way more than we run, so that's something also. In terms of like the running back numbers, we've just been throwing the ball a ton. We fall behind too much, as always. Remember, when you're ahead, you run. When you're behind, you throw. We've been behind too much. And so we have had to throw a lot of times, but also we've been throwing just too much in general also. Flight Right says, yeah, imagine this O-line with better coaching. Yeah, it's something to really think about. We got 80% of it. Those guys are staying. So that's really something to think about. That's a strength of the team that we do have. I would sign Morgan Moses back, at least for a backup. Toughest son of a bitch out there. PC Salami says, it really does seem that this GW controversy seems to be created by the media. Yeah, if you follow me on Twitter, I've been putting out or X. I've been putting out information about that. I think many in the media hate A-Rod so much they want to drive him out anyway. Yes, for sure. Yeah, absolutely, PC. That's exactly what's going on. Yeah, I've been trying to point out on X these media tricks that they do. The latest one is they have a narrative about Garrett Wilson, and they're not going to let it go. They're going to pound the drum on this one. Whether it's Dick Chimney, Country Club Connor, Zach Rosenblech, Diana Rossini, whoever it's going to, they're all going to have this narrative because that's the thing that's going to sell right now. Because think about it, what else is going to sell? There's not a lot going on. I mean, we already turned over the head coach and the GM, so yeah, we'll hire new guys, but that's not really a big story. Now they need an ongoing story. The ongoing story is going to be the Garrett Wilson saga, and it's a media creation. It's a narrative they have. They're going with it. You know, he's up for a contract extension. He's not getting targeted as much now that Devontae's here, and blah blah blah. That's the new thing. Just get ready. Don't be bothered too much by it. It's their narrative. It's their current narrative. The Jets media hates the Jets. Well, yeah, that I think that they really just want clicks. You know what I mean? That's what I think. And they can't get it when you're losing. They can't really get it while you're losing. So what are they going to do? They have to come up with something, right? They got to come up with something. Look at this. So they got to come up with something for their clicks. You know what I mean? Yeah, Rogers looking to Devontae for the 500 TD. Yeah, all that stuff. That's what That's what the new brain trust is going to have to figure out. Are they playing AAU ball? You know, like what's his name, Caporoso? Uh, Joe Caporoso put it well on one of the podcasts they put out for Badlands. It's like seems like this team is it's like an AAU basketball team. You know, as Geno Smith finds Smith and Jigba for a first down. They're like an AAU basketball team. It's like, hey, let's go shoot some threes, let's get some stats, and they're not really a team. They're just a collection of talent. Like an AAU basketball team. Nice blitz pickup by Charbonnet. PC says they know hate gets clicks and they want to create new hate. Yeah, of course. They got it. All the emotions, anything that drives emotions, that's what they're looking for. And right now, that we're not winning, we're not, there's nothing they can do there. What are they going to do? Jets lose another game? Like they gotta manufacture something. Think about it. Every morning of these media operations, they have editorial meetings and they say, what are we going to talk about today? And they have to come up with something because that's their business. Their business is to sell papers and clicks and ads and all that. And if nobody clicks on their stuff, you know, nobody clicks on their podcasts, they don't make any money. So it's all just incentives. So this is a natural narrative to use because Jet fans will get all riled up about it. They know the Jet fans love Garrett Wilson. They know anything, that's about, him not wanting to come back or the Jets not giving him a contract or him being upset is going to rile up the Jet fan base. They know this. So, yeah, of course they're going to do it. But that's why it's good to just be knowledgeable that that's going to happen. There's another pass by uh, Gino over to Lockett now. So now this offense starting to roll a little bit more. 12:21 remaining in the second quarter here as the game goes along 3-0 Seahawks over the Bears. Bears have not been able to move the ball very well at all as Caleb Williams has not looked good so far tonight. Ooh, that was a hold. They didn't call that one. So yeah, that's what's going to happen. They know that every Jet fan loves Wilson, one of the fan faves, right? So yeah, we just got to be aware of their tricks, man. Yeah, exactly. I like overlaying this one. Let's see if this works. Yeah. I like having the comments overlaid. Do you like these comments overlaid like this, or you like it the other way? Either yeah, so they either we're going to the Super Bowl and we're winning and they have lots of, storylines about how great this guy is and that one and this thing and this coaching decision was so wonderful and blah blah blah. Or we're just a total disaster because everything in the middle doesn't sell, right? Everything in the middle doesn't sell. Jets Jets make a wise, cost-effective decision on player X. Like that doesn't sell. So we just got to be smart about it. That's why I'm thinking about using this channel to create like an ethics and journalism institute, you know, where we can grade how ethical these journalistic pieces are because there are standards in journalism. And I think it'd be fun to kind of give grades to different articles, give grades to certain writers to kind of shame them into, ooh, that was a nice blitz, incomplete. Um, to shame the mainstream media the um, into doing the right thing. And for example, you're only supposed to use anonymous sources as a last resort. That's ethical, one of the tenets of ethical journalism. For example, you're not supposed to use um, anonymous sources unless you absolutely have to as a last resort. A lot of our journalists use it as a first resort, and they're always using anonymous sources all the time. And of course, you have to use them sometimes. That's obviously, but that's something where that's one of those things where it's like this person uses anonymous sources 97% of the time. That's too much. So I think it might be fun to just shame the mainstream media into doing a better job. I try to do it in the comments on X. If you notice, sometimes I'll I'll try and yeah give a little stick over to Dick Chimney or Country Club Connor. Doesn't really work out too good. You get some likes on X, but that's not really accomplishing much. So PC says overlay. Yeah, I like this overlay. But if we get some Kansas City fans in here who are, being buttheads, you gotta reconsider. Imagine being a Chief fan and coming into a Jet chat room. What? Go enjoy your life, Chief fans. Should be on top of the world. 15-1, baby. 15-1, baby. But that'll be interesting this year in the playoffs, right? You got three elite teams. Two of them got to get knocked out between the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Ravens, right? One of them got to get knocked out. Two of them got to get knocked out technically. But it'll be interesting to see who survives out of those teams. Those will be very interesting games. Rich Samini is a clickbait queen. Yeah. I call him Richard. Whenever I try to like expose his clickbaitiness, I call him Richard. Yeah. Just trying to get under his skin a little bit. A little bit, a little bit, a little bit. Call him Richard. I call him Richard. I call Connor Hughes Country Club. You know, get under their skin a little bit, a little bit. Jay Quest is here. Jay Quest 57. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy Hanukkah, whatever you're celebrating. Hope you're having a good time with your family and friends as we watch football here on a Thursday night. Why not? Sure, this is a Jets channel, but why can't we watch other teams? Why can't we keep track of what's going on around this league of NFL football that we got going on over here? Got all this football this week. We got a Wednesday, we got a Monday game, then a Wednesday game, then a Thursday game, then three games on Saturday, then the Sunday games. What a week for football, if you think about it. They're showing Saquon Barkley. Every time they show Saquon Barkley, how bad do you think the Giants fans feel about that? They got to be beside themselves. Brian Costello has been pretty bad lately. They're all bad. They're all in the same boat, guys, because they all have the same incentive. Yeah, that's an interesting thing, Salami, right? Caleb Williams back to pass, throws it behind more, but he's able to grab it, right? So Steelers fans are really mad at Tomlin. Oh yeah, if they were, they're not so stupid to let him go. But if they did, of course, he would be. Put it to you this way: every team with an opening would do whatever was necessary to hire him. The Bears, us, the Jaguar, everybody would be. He'd be first on their list, even higher than Vrabel. But yeah, it's interesting how the fans will turn on you. Now, the fans in Pittsburgh, their main complaint with Tomlin is, yeah, he gets all these winning seasons, but then when he gets in the playoffs, he loses. They haven't won a playoff game in about 10 years, and they're very spoiled up in Pittsburgh with regard to the success that they've had, you know, as a franchise. Oh boy, this is a gee, oof. This is not a good idea, Caleb. Oh boy. Well, he gets out of the end zone at least. A 1 yard pass from your 1 yard line is not good. Jay Quest, Frankie, if you had to pick a team to win this year, uh, I don't know. I think Jay Quest. This is what I think. In the AFC, you got these three monster teams. Their names are the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Ravens. They're monster teams by any measure, any way you look at it. And may the best team win. I'm just rooting for good football, Jake. I want to see which two are getting knocked out because those are three monster teams, and the fan bases are going to be pissed if they don't get to the Super Bowl. Williams now from his own end zone throws it out to Moore. Oof, almost picked off by Witherspoon. Got lucky there. Boy, Caleb. Oy. But he completed it, so that's a good thing. Um, so yeah, so that's what I'm looking. But then in the NFC, you got the Lions. Now the Lions are the team that's maybe the most like us as a franchise until these last Dan Campbell years here. They were and had been. Hadn't won a division title in like 30 years, 30 years, and so forth and so on. So much misery going on in Detroit and so forth and so on. They had Barry Sanders and Megatron and on Stafford and all these people and still couldn't win. And now they turned it around and they would be. Oh, here's a nice screen pass that they're able to complete to Swift. That's a good play. Nice job there, DeAndre. But now they have all these injuries on defense, so I don't know what they're going to be all about. And you got all these other interesting teams in the NFC now. You got the Vikings, you got the Packers, and so forth and so on. They got the Eagles, of course. And really, the way it should shape up, if the Lions were healthy, somewhat healthy. I saw a graphic where the Lions. Oh boy, Caleb, Caleb, Caleb. Why are they stopping the play? What is going on? They let the whole play run. He throws a pick, and then they stop the play. Well, it's on the defense, but why'd they let the play run then? Too many men on the field. Well, why'd they stop the play? I don't understand. Caleb's pointing to the 12 man on the field. Just throw the pass, Caleb. Why are you pointing at the man leaving the field? Concentrate on throwing a proper pass, 18. What are you doing? But anyway, so really, if they were at full strength, the NFC should really be the Eagles against the Lions, right? But the Lions are so beat up on defense. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it now. But then you got teams like the Vikings and the Packers, very interesting teams who are sort of the next level there. So that's interesting. So there's a lot of good playoff football coming up as we get through these next 2 weeks. I'm just rooting for good football. I'm interested to see if anybody can knock off the champs, of course, the Chiefs. So that'll be fun if they do get knocked off, and it'll be annoying, of course, if they don't. Now there's a handoff up the middle to DeAndre going backwards, but now he's going forward and tries to jump. That didn't work out too good. When you try to jump over people, it's a good idea to make sure you get over them. So that's kind of what I'm rooting for. We got a lot of good football to watch in the playoffs, and maybe we'll do some live streams during the playoffs. How about that? How about some playoff live streams? You guys want to see that or no? So Swamp Ranger says, "What years were you in?" I was in the middle '90s. And what was your MOS? So people may not know in the military, MOS is the job that you do. So I was airborne artillery. We would essentially, as Williams now getting a sack, no bueno. So we would essentially, jump out of an airplane, set up a battery of about 8 artillery pieces, and take out a town or two, and people would wake up and their town wouldn't be there anymore. That's no good. Well, it's good if you're the artillery people. But yeah, I was airborne artillery. Infrared, I'm on my fifth Puerto Rico eggnog over here. Coquito heaven. Okay. All right. Let's make sure we drink a little water in between. Puerto Rico eggnog. Steeler fans are like Yankee fans. They're spoiled. Yeah, well, they're spoiled by their success. I mean, they never have a losing season in 20 years or so. Yeah, see, now they're doing things that Caleb can do. These little smoke screens and little screen passes, bubble screens, and so forth. Seems like that's where he's at this point in his development. So they should just keep doing those and less of the other things, perhaps. These little things that he can do. Let's build on his skill set where he's at in his development now. Something the Jets should learn about. Uh, yeah, but and that's what happens. They want playoff wins in Pittsburgh, and that's we're dying to get to the playoffs. They're like, yeah, playoffs, whatever. We need playoff wins, Mister Tomlin. Of course, he's not going anywhere because the Steeler organization is not stupid. And look at the Steelers and Ravens, man. These teams they have sustained success year over year, and they keep their head coach in place for decades. That's the way you do it, my opinion. Nice play by Leonard Williams. They might get him for a hip drop tackle upon review. No, maybe not. Just a regular old tackle. All right, 2nd and 11 now. Caleb in the shock. Oh, that is a terrible snap. Williams recovers, able to throw it to that didn't look good, but he got it to Keenan Allen. All right, off schedule. That's what you want, off schedule. Swamp Ranger wants to know what brigade. Uh, I forget, man. Second and the. Um, it's a long time ago, Swamp Ranger. What do you want me to remember everything? I'd have to look it up. Uh, Jig Quest, I got us at 7 wins next season. Infrared, we don't even know who's on the team yet, man. Oh, throws it over his head. No bueno. Flag on the play. Well, there's 3:34 left in this first half. That's a penalty on the Bears. That'll back them up. I was there from 13 to 21, 38, third, 3 BCT. Okay. It's a big place, brother. 40 people who don't know, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, 45,000 soldiers, 44,900 of which are men. It's not so great from that point of view. Um, So let's see, 2nd and 10, but it's only 3-0. Seahawks ahead with 3:34 left in this first half. The Seahawks are fighting for their playoff lives against the 4-11 Bears, with Williams throwing it all over the yard, and they're only up by 3 points. I mean, this kid cannot play in the pocket right now. He cannot play in the pocket right now. Thomas Brown, you got to run smoke screens, screen passes, little flares. What are you doing? He can't play out of the pocket right now. I don't think he hasn't shown it. Every time he's in the pocket, he's dancing around. Happy feet. Doop a doop a doo. No, nobody's open. No bueno. But on the other hand, the Seahawks are only up by 3 points here at the end of this, toward the end of the first half here. So Seahawk fans can't be too happy with this one so far. And that's probably a hold. So he throws for a touchdown, but I think they're going to get a holding offense. Yep, sure did. Now that's something else he can do. So, you're seeing some of the things he can and can't do, right? Off schedule when he's running around left and right, he's very good at getting his hip around and being able to fire a missile. Even on this one, he's running left, right? So this is the hardest throw that a quarterback has to make, running left. Now he's got to get that front hip around in order to get velocity on the ball. That's definitely a hold. And he is able to do it. It throws a nice ball, touchdown. So that's some of the things that Caleb Williams can do. So you see the things, that you like about him, but pocket passing right now as a rookie, not quite there yet, at least from what we've seen so far. So yeah, here we go. A little screen pass. Well, that doesn't go very far, but it was third down and 20. So get a little yardage. Now kick the field goal, get some points. That's the way it goes. Arlen Abraham's here. Salami says Steeler fans, last time they had a coach who didn't win a Super Bowl was before Chuck Noll. Who was before Chuck Noll? Who was before Chuck Noll? They had Chuck Noll. Then they had what's his name? The guy with the mustache, the scowly guy. Then they had Tomlin. Three coaches in about 50 years. We get three coaches in 3 minutes. 42-yard attempt is good. So now it's 3-3. 2 minutes 32 seconds left. The Bears have tied up the Seahawks in this exciting ball game. 3-3, battle of the field goals. Geno Smith to take the field. Seahawk fans have got to be going, well, wait a minute. We're supposed to be fighting for our playoff lives here. What's going on? We're 3-3 with the Bears. Where's the effort? Where's the energy? Where's the where's the gotta have it? Where is it at? That's what they got to be saying. But meanwhile, you know, the Bears are trying to figure out about Caleb Williams, and everybody's watching all the potential head coaches, Pete Carroll, uh, you know, Mike Vrabel, all these people are watching going, is this the guy, Caleb Williams, that I want to work with or not going forward? Maybe they like what they see. Maybe they think they could work with him. Maybe not. Salami says Bill Austin. Jeez. Nobody remembers that guy, Salami. Bill Austin, 1966 to 68. Jesus. Infrared says, I just spoke to Mo Dean yesterday, and he's doing great. Okay. Good to know, Infrared. Good to know. We want everybody to be doing well. Bill Austin. Jeez. Nobody remembers that name, Salami. I tell you that much. Who remembers Bill Austin? Even probably Yinzers don't even remember Bill Austin. Oh, yeah, Cower, Bill Cower. So, yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But we have not gotten any more information from the Jets about who they've interviewed, if anybody, for the general manager position in this last week. So, no news on that front. We have had some interviews, um, but nothing more has been announced other than a handful of candidates. That's the first order of business we got to get in the books over here. That's the first order of business we got to get in the books. Who's going to be the GM for this friggin' franchise? Once we know that, we'll have a lot to talk about at that time. We'll have a lot to talk about at that time. Cairo Santos kicking off. Boy, he's not good at these kickoffs. Oh, that one's all right. Oh, Salami had to search it. Yeah. Well, because no one remembers. Everybody just remembers Noel and Cower and Tomlin. I mean, that's quite a record. And then you think about the Ravens. They basically have had three head coaches their whole life. They had the guy who started off, what, Marchabroda. Then he handed it off to Coach, forget his name, starts with a B. I can see his face. And then he handed it off to Harbaugh. They've had the Ravens have had three coaches their whole life. Now Geno Smith in the shotgun. Let's see if he can run this little 2-minute offense here. He hands it off to Charbonnet for a 9-yard gain. A little extracurricular activities between Metcalf and a defensive back. Got to be careful there, DK. Don't want a penalty. Uh, Getting a little hot under the collar. A little hot under the collar now. The defensive lineman comes in there. Somebody going to get a technical flag thrown. Started off with a defensive back, and then the D tackle got in there. You like to see that from a teammate point of view. And plus, the Bears have nothing to lose. What do they care if they get a flag? You know, it's meaningful for the Seahawks if they're the ones with the penalty here. It might call offsetting. Who knows? Started off Metcalf on Stevenson, then the defensive tackle gets involved. So I like that. I'll tell you that much. Defensive tackle says, "Get off my guy. Get out of here, DK. Want to mess with somebody? Mess with me, buddy. Stand up for your teammates." I like that. They're going to call offsetting. Yeah. All right. That's good. Yeah, Billick, right. Brian Billick. That's what it was. I knew it was something like that. Yeah, they went from Marchabroda to Billick to Harbaugh. That's it. Three coaches the whole time. We get three coaches in 3 minutes. You know, get a break over here. All right. Let's see if Gino can bring them down. They need a touchdown. They need to start establishing some momentum so that they can get the Bears thinking about their holiday plans and get this game over with so they can move on with their playoff aspirations. 8-8, not looking too good, but 9-7's looking good. DK still mouthing off to Stevenson. These two are going to be jawing all game. It seems like. All right, let's see the formation. Let's go. Stop doing goddamn close-ups. I hate when they close up on everybody's faces. I just want to see what the formation is. I want to know how many tight ends are in there. Instead, we got to have a close-up of everybody's nostrils. We don't need that. But Metcalf is hot. He hot on the sideline. He's not calming down. Now they're going to commercial. What the hell, man? Wasn't Bill Austin a head coach of the Washington Redskins? You would know, Harlan. We need somebody like Harlan or Sluggo or somebody like that. Tell us about these people from back in the day, or Green Bean the historian. Infrared says, I got us beating the Dolphins that last game. Well, everybody's going to want to win that game to try to win the fans back. I don't know. The fans are pretty 50-50 on Rodgers, I think. Jets X Factor have been going pretty hard on the point of trying to say that we should not bring him back. And they've been pretty adamant about that. So I don't know. The fans are probably 50-50 regardless of what he does these last few games. And even if he goes over 4,000 yards, for example, set the franchise record or whatever, but it's in 17 games. So it's not, not really that much of an accomplishment when you think about it, when you really think about it. After Vince Lombardi died, the Redskins hired as head coach George Allen. Some people really remember this stuff from back in the day. That's before my time. Wild Wave says we shouldn't bring him back. Well, I don't know if you were here earlier, Wild Wave, but one scenario that you could have. So what's going to probably happen is if we don't bring Rogers back, then that probably means Adams and Lazard are probably also gone. Not that Lazard is a big deal, but Adams kind of is. But one thing we could do, let's say we decide that we want to sign Justin Fields. And then you have Tyrod and Fields and Travis, and you just have a three-way competition in training camp to win the job. So you got Tyrod, the veteran, you got Justin Fields, the young veteran, and then you got Jordan Travis, the young guy trying to see if he can make it in the league. Man, they're really still going at it. But you do like to see guys sticking up for their teammates. You want to see more of that on the Jets, I'll tell you that much. All right, Geno Smith now, 2-minute warning. All right, throws a little screen pass here to the backup tight end, or I think it's the backup tight end. No, that's Fant. That's their regular tight end. Good job by Fant. That's George Fant's brother, Noah, the tight end. See if they can bring him down. So yeah, so we could do that. I mean, that could be something. I mean, there's not a lot of good choices out there if you don't go to Rodgers. If you go with Rodgers, then everybody stays. Adams stays. I would get rid of Lazard personally, but probably he stays too. I guess I don't know. The man has a 20% drop rate. Um, So Adams is here, Rogers is here, Tyrod's here, and then Travis is quarterback three. So we probably don't make any other exterior moves if that's the case. But if you get rid of Rogers and Adams and Lazard, then you got to replace the wide receivers and you got to start looking at the quarterback options. The draft doesn't look too hot. So out of all the options left, Justin Fields is looking pretty good. And he would want to come here because we would offer him a chance, to be a legitimate chance to be a starter again. You could uh, restart your career here. If you do well, you give him an incentive laden contract where if he starts a number of games, he gets more money. So it's good from a financial perspective, and he gets a real shot to be QB1 again. So that's why he would want to do it. And I don't know how many offers he's going to have like that in the offseason. There's a throw to DK. Gets back in the game and gets his revenge with yardage. That's how you do it, not through talking. You do it through actions. All right, let's see if the Seahawks can get some points here now. About a minute and 8 seconds left remaining. They're at the 36-yard line or so. Gino back to pass now. Looks down the middle, can't find anyone, escapes the rush, and is going to run for it. And now slides down about the 32-yard line. So it'll be second down. They have all their timeouts, so no problem in terms of time. Plenty of time, 53 seconds remaining. Man, you guys are talking about some old time football. How can you remember that far back, guys? That's like 40, 50, 60 years ago. How do you remember this? How do you guys remember this? I mean, it's not like you can go and look at all 22 from 1957. Here's a trivia question for you old timers. Why? Well, I bet you guys do know this actually. Why? Why do NFL footballs have the words "the Duke" on them? Why do NFL footballs have the words "the Duke" on them? I bet you guys do know this actually. And don't look it up. No looking it up. No looking it up. Looking it up, not allowed. No Googling. No Googling allowed. Why do NFL footballs have the words "the Duke" written on them? No looking it up. Can't look it up. Not allowed to look it up. Got to just know off the top of your head. That's the rules. Can't break the rules. Got to know the rules. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. NFL footballs have the words "the Duke" on them. Why do they? Well, Paul K has half the answer. Paul K has half the answer. Josh Allen most likely going to play against us. Well, I think they have something to play for. I think because they're not locked into the number 2 seed. I don't believe. I think they actually have something to play for. So flight right, not an old timer because the Giants owner John Mara. Half right. Half right. So their current owner is John Mara. John Mara's father is named Wellington Mara. Was named Wellington Mara. And actually Wellington Mara was the one who did a lot of stuff to establish the NFL as a real league that was, respected back in the day. And his nickname was the Duke. And they put it on. He did so much for the NFL. They put his nickname on the football, Wellington Mara. That's how blue-blooded a franchise the Giants are. Their original owner has his nickname on the footballs. All right, 37 seconds now. The clock ticking, 3rd and 5. Let's see if Gino can convert. For some reason, DK Metcalf not in the game at this moment in time. Did all that jawing. Now they're calling timeout or something. What's going on? Second timeout. There's 27 seconds left. I don't think they managed the clock very well here, Mr. McDonald. What's going on, Coach McDonald? Let all that time run off, and now you have to use a timeout. Didn't seem like you knew what was going on here. What's going on? I thought Mike McDonald was a genius. Boy, genius, Mike McDonald. Mike McDonald wasting too many seconds now. 27. Well, there's still plenty of time, really. They could always go for a field goal, but they really should want to try to put a touchdown on the board here. They've gone the whole first half without a touchdown, and they're fighting for their playoff lives. Meanwhile, DK's getting into fight now. He is on the field. Gino, and the pass is batted down by Jacob Martin, old friend Jacob Martin. Attaboy, Jake, former Jet legend, Jacob Martin. 4th and 5, so now they'll have to go for the field goal. Jacob Martin getting a lot of playing time for these Bears. Going against Lake and Tomlinson, but then he got passed off to Oluwatimi and just jumped up and got in the way of the pass. Good job by 55. And now they're going to have to go for a field goal in the driving rain. 4th and 5. Former Jet legend Jason Myers going for the field goal. And he got it, no problem. This guy is automatic. Automatica. 21 seconds remain now. 6-3. Seahawks over the Bears. So as they fight for their playoff lives, they put up a huge 6 points in the first half against a 4-11 Chicago Bears team. And meanwhile, DK Metcalf trying to fight the whole team, trying to start a fight, wants to do a fist fight in the parking lot, wants to hit somebody. How about scoring some touchdowns? How about that? All right. So, what else is in the news? What else is in the news that we haven't talked about yet? Any other news? See, this is going to be the problem also. Like the reason the news people, the mainstream news people, Harlan, yes, he is. So the mainstream news people have to come up with all these narratives to get people to click their stuff, right? But then now for us, it's like, well, there's no news. We need some real news. What's the news? There's no jet news going on. We need some news. And it can't be that Devontae Adams didn't practice today with a bad hip. That's not enough. We need some better news. Bears will probably take a knee, I would think, but there's 21 seconds left. Maybe they'll try and do something here. Stadium does not exactly look full of Chicago Bears fans. Pretty empty. Pretty empty, but it is a driving rain in the end of December in Chicago. Williams, 7 out of 13, 82 yards. It's looked worse than that, but that's no bueno either. And now we'll see if he can do anything at the end of this first half. They are going to, nope, they're going to run it. So they'll just run out this clock probably, even though they have two timeouts. Looks like they're happy to, no, they are using their timeouts. All right, 13 seconds. So they're going to try to do something, I guess. Infrared said, "What happened to that Curtis Martin get him into the office ordeal?" Well, that was my idea, Infrared. Nobody listened to me. What do you think? Think people are listening to me, Infrared? I don't know. The Johnsons, one of the problems with the Johnsons is they listen to Jaime and Ira too much. Jaime El Hai, the president, and then they got this consultant, Ira, who comes in, who's their consultant on the business side and on their other business, the Johnson Company. And he's, I'm sure, great for that, but they have him give his advice on football stuff, and that's part of the problem. And so they don't seem inclined to bring in a guy like Curtis, which they should do, obviously. And Williams gets sacked. Another sack for Williams. I mean, sometimes you got to call off the dogs and just say, let's go into halftime, not get our guy killed. And it's very interesting to see what Caleb Williams is able to do and not able to do so far in his career. Still not a good pocket passer, but very good on off schedule stuff. And, you can run smokes and bubbles and, little screens for him. Infrared says, Jaime got to go. Yeah, but are we hearing anything about Jaime going anywhere? Are we hearing that? What about all the cap people? What about all the pro scouts? All those people got to go. You know? What about all the cap gurus? You need cap gurus, but I don't think ours are very guru-ish. I think ours stink. You need people who know how to restructure contracts and structure contracts and give extensions and all that. And you need pro scouts who know how to evaluate the talent on other clubs for trades and if they get released and all of that. What about those people? It seems to me those people stink on our staff. They totally stink on ice. Yeah. What about them? How about them? They all got to get the axe. But I don't think Woody's smart enough to do that. And I don't think he's going to let the general manager tell him what to do on the business side. He's going to say, on the business side, we're good. We make money. We got money coming in. What are you talking about? We don't need to make changes there. But of course, the business side and the football side are related. You got to know how to handle these contracts these days. That's something I wish somebody would talk about. Are we doing our contracts the right way? Like, how does Howie Roseman always seem to be able to do these contracts in a way that they can seemingly always add talent, during the season? The Eagles are always adding talent and making trades and making moves, you know? How does Howie do it? That's one of the advantages of a Mike Greenberg. If we get Mike Greenberg in here, you know, his expertise, that's his expertise, is structuring those contracts so that so that you can stay under the cap, still add talent, make it all work out. So that would be an advantage of bringing in a Mike Greenberg, but then you got to pair him with a talent evaluator type because that's not what he does. John Spytek does that for them and a bunch of other people, but Spytek is the head of it. So yeah, we got this triple header coming on Saturday. So this is a week of football on this holiday week. You had football on Monday, football on Wednesday, football on Thursday, football on Saturday, football on Sunday. Quite the week for NFL football. Happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas. Hope everybody's doing well. If you're new into the room, please click the like button. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe if you would. We would appreciate it. If you're already subscribed, feel free to hit the bell button because that notifies you whenever there's something new. Wild Wave says Woody needs to STFU and improve our resources and stop being cheap. All right. You're going to tell him, Wild Wave? Who's going to tell the owner? He's the boss. He's the boss. So he's the one who gets to do the talking. Everybody else gets to do the shutting up. That's how it works in our organization. Caleb Williams, 7 of 13, 82 pass yards. Not exactly stellar, but let's see what he can do in the second half. Perhaps they'll be able to figure out something in the second half. You never know. Could be, could be, could be. You never quite know. Total yards, Bears, 101. One thing you have to wonder about the Chicago Bears, they went with Thomas Brown. He went from quarterback coach to offensive coordinator to head coach. Is there too much on his plate? That's a big hard. Nobody ever does that. You go from quarterback coach to offensive coordinator to head coach, and you're still going to call the plays and all that. And that's a lot on a young coach's plate. He's gonna do all of that. So he might be in over his head. That could be something people might say. It's too much. It's sort of like what we did to Ulbrich. Ulbrich was not ready to be a head coach, let alone be a head coach and a defensive coordinator. Wild Wave says, I would if I see him. You know what he would say to you, Wild Wave? You fired. So you'd be out on the street, Wild Wave, and then what would you do? You'd be dancing for nickels, Wild Wave. We don't want that. That's the problem. He can fire anybody he wants to. But obviously, if you hire someone of considerable merit and you say, okay, you're going to be a GM and you really want them, that GM is going to say, all right, I'm not going to, we need to have a clear delineation of duties here. We need to have a clear understanding of who does what. What does the business side do? What does the football side do? What can I expect out of ownership? Because I think these GMs are going to come in and say, listen, you've made some pretty irrational maneuvers here, right? And they didn't work out. You fired the head coach within 5 games of the season. That didn't work out. Then you fired the GM. Then you acquired Devontae Adams. You made all these moves. You brought in Hassan Reddick. You traded for Hassan Reddick. Then he was out. Then you brought him in. None of this worked, right? So if I'm the GM candidate, I got to say, listen, Mr. Johnson, I understand that these things happen, but from the outside looking in, this looked like, these were rash decisions and it didn't really work out. So I'm not sure, if I'm going to come work there, I don't want these kind of decisions to be made without due consideration for alternatives, et cetera. And any general manager worth their salt that we're going to want, any of these top candidates that we're reading about, that's has to be part of the consideration. Yeah, but Wild Wave, he's the boss, right? So you can dream about getting rid of him or this or that, and but look what he did. He made all these football decisions. So if you're the general manager, you have to say, look, you did all this stuff and it didn't work out for you, Mr. Johnson. So I want to be reassured that this isn't the type of thing that I'm going to encounter because you're hiring me to do a job. You're hiring me to do this, this, and this. You want me to build this, this, and this. I'm happy to do that for you. But what we can't have is like irrational decisions being made by ownership because there's a long-term strategic vision that we're trying to execute upon. That's what you want me to hire me to do. And so what is the situation? And that's the way that any general manager is going to look at it and go, all right, and then it's going to depend on what Woody tells him. And if he says something like, well, I'm the boss, I'm going to, I'll do what I please. And then the person can say, okay, I'm not interested in this job then. So that's really the way to go about it. Now, the 33rd team, a lot of people hire firms, but the 33rd team is just doing vetting of candidates. So that's fine. There's over 200 candidates to go through. We don't have the internal resources to vet all of those candidates. So the 33rd team thing makes a lot of sense. The other things he did do not make any sense. But I would want an explanation. Like, I'm the GM candidate. I want an explanation of why this happened. From the outside, this did not look functional, Mr. Johnson. So he's gonna have to explain it to them. And if he's a jerk about it and he's like, well, I'm the owner, this is what I thought was best, the new GM in here is just gonna have to deal with that, then the GM candidate's gonna say, I'm not interested in that. And that's, as fans, there's only so much we can do. We got to live with this Woody Woodpecker guy. But there's a rational way to handle that and an irrational way. So, but any GM worth his salt, or if they bring in a Vrabel type, who's wants that power, who's going to have that power play where they're the powerful one, like a Mike Vrabel, or even a Pete Carroll for that matter, they're going to say that too. Mike Vrabel would say the same thing, and I think Pete Carroll would say the same thing. And I think what they would say probably too is, look, where I've seen success is where ownership does these things, the general manager does these things, the head coach does these things, the business side does these things, and nobody crosses over. Everybody stays in their lane, does their thing, and where there's collaboration needed, we collaborate. But you do it this way, and I've seen organizations have success. Vrabel will say with the Tennessee Titans and the New England Patriots. Pete Carroll will say with the Seattle Seahawks, we did this, this, and this. And based on what Woody tells them, you know, they're going to decide whether they want to be here or not. If he has a good explanation, or if he says, I did it for these reasons, I thought they were the right reasons at the time. Looking back, I made a mistake. Shouldn't have fired Salah at 5 games in. Should have fired him the offseason before, et cetera, et cetera. Then you'd say, all right, everybody makes mistakes. Yeah. Yeah, infrared. But look what they did, though. But look at the difference, right? So the Broncos have ownership that said, we'll do whatever it takes and whatever's right. They're the Walmart people. Yeah, Wild Wave. We know that he's a bad owner. We get it. You don't have to keep saying that. I'm gonna take this guy out of here. So, look at what the Broncos did, right? They got new ownership. And the ownership said, we're going to do all the right things, and we'll do whatever it takes to get the right coach in here. We're going to pay him $18 million. We're going to pay um, in draft picks. We had to trade. They actually had to trade for Sean Payton. Right. So they gave up the draft picks. They put in new field turf at the stadium for like 2 games. The millions of dollars it took. They said that's the right thing to do. Okay, we'll do it. They pay Sean Payton $18 million. Okay, that's the right thing. Let's do that. And they made the right decisions. And look what they're doing. They took all this dead cap. Sean Payton said, I got a vision. Here's what it is. He wanted Bo Nix, went and got Bo Nix, made him, catered the offense around his skill set, what he can do well, and don't do all the things he doesn't do well. And look what happens. When you put the right people in charge and let them go to work, good things can happen. But they paid heavily for him. I mean, whether Woody's willing to pay in the 15 to $18 million range for a head coach, I don't know. The reports out of Connor Hughes are that he's willing to pay for a GM, that he's willing to pay for GM and head coach. Now, whether he's willing to pay 15 to 18 million to get the top notch talent like a Mike Vrabel is going to cost you 15 mil, you would think, at least. If Sean Payton's getting 18, what's Mike Vrabel getting? 15? That's a lot of money to pay. And that's another thing. Woody's got to be willing to pay that. And hopefully he is. So that's where we are. But let's hope for the best. Let's hope Woody has learned from his mistakes. That's all we can really hope for. Otherwise, otherwise it's like, well, if you're going to look negative on it, then maybe you shouldn't be a Jet fan until Woody sells or something, because he's going to be here a long time, and then he's going to give it to his kids. So Gabe New is here. Good to see Gabe New. How are you? Happy holidays, happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy New Year, happy holidays, happy holidays, happy holidays. It's raining in Chicago on Christmas. Plus one. All right, Seattle kicks it off. Let's see what Caleb could do in the second half of this ball game. As the Seattle Seahawks are fighting for their playoff lives. 8-7 on the season, leading this ball game 6-3 as we enter the second half of action. Six points allowed in first half, tied second fewest this season. Well, that's a positive way to spin it. They only scored three, but they only gave up six. So, yeah. All right, let's see. Caleb Williams now coming out. He's got 13. He's got 11 personnel here in tight split formation. Fakes a handoff, rolls out to his right, looking, and he's going to run. Ooh, and he runs for 1 yard. Mm, not great, but second and 9. All right, let's go 18. Let's go now. Gabe New, who's better, Packers or Bears? Right now, pretty easy. Packers. What what kind of question is that? Packers are going to the playoffs and the Bears have 4 wins. Happy holidays. Happy holiday. Too many deaths in my family to be really happy at this time of year. I'm sorry to hear that, Harlan. Sorry to hear that, Harlan. All right, DeAndre Swift up the middle for 7 yards. He's a couple of yards short. Man, the rain continues to fall down in Chicago. This would be better if it were a snow game. How come we can't get any snow games this time of year on television? That's what I want to know. But how about a few snow games once in a while? Can we get a snow game? How about that? We got a rain game. How about a snow game? Can we get a snow game? All right, Thomas Brown. Let's see what you dial up on 3rd and 2. 11 personnel. Wants a Dunze go wide. All right, gives it off to Rojo, and that was not very inspiring, Mr. Brown. 4th down. Probably got a punt here, I'd think. I don't know if he's going to take it. Yeah, Salami, you're right. I mean, if anything, you got to hope these guys can learn, for God's sakes. I mean, what else can you do? I mean, Dolan's a good example. Dolan's a good example. Even Bob Kraft up in New England, he used to be very meddlesome in the beginning of his ownership. He learned, then he hired Belichick, and he was pretty hands off. So sometimes these guys can learn. Got to hope and pray they do. Otherwise, it's pretty bleak for the fandom. Pretty bleak for the fandom. Otherwise, let's just hope and pray he's able to get it right. Keep his hands off. Keep your damn hands off it. And let's hope he learns. Hope he learns his lesson. I mean, that's one good thing that could come out of these athletic articles that are so embarrassing is maybe they're so embarrassing it forces him to frickin' change his ways. That might be the only good thing to come out of these dumb articles. All right. Geno Smith now under center. 11 personnel again, but he's under center, so you'd think this is probably a run. Nope. Play action. And gets it to the running back. Charbonnet goes for about 6 yards. So that's a good gain on first down. Now, the Seattle offense has looked a little better than the Bears offense, but they have not been able to punch it in for any touchdowns. Only 2 field goals the whole first half. Geno Smith now in the shotgun. 11 personnel on the field again with the backup tight end, 86 in the ball game, and one of the backup wide receivers, and they hand it off to Charbonnet, and he's not able to get much there. In fact, loses a yard or so. So third down. Let's see if they can convert this third down now. Walker 95 made a nice play. Shed the block of the sifting center. The center came on a move block, was able to get off that block and make a tackle. Very nicely done by number 95. All right, third and five now. Gino in the shotgun, 11 personnel, 3-by-1 formation. Looks right, looks right. Now scrambling. Can he scramble for the first down? Yes, very easily he can. And he's going to keep. Oh, he could have kept going, it seemed like. But he gets out all the way to the 46 yards. So couldn't find anybody. Went for the scrambalaya and got a first down. Looked like number 6 didn't want to tackle him. Not sure what was going on there. Got to be a little more aggressive there, 6. Two tight end formation now. Looks like a running formation with tight splits. It is. Charbonnet gets about a yard. It's be second and 9. Second down and 9. Rain continues to fall in Chicago. We don't get any snow, but we get rain. Much rather have a snow game. Would have been a lot more fun to watch. Stevenson is now guarding DK Metcalf, so that might be a matchup to watch. Nope, they hand it off to Charbonnet. Runs left, able to get about 4 or 5 yards on that one, so it'll be third down and about 4 yards to go, or the first down. They show Ryan Poles up in the booth. Everybody seems to think Mr. Ryan Poles is safe from getting fired. They also have Mr. Kevin Warren, the president and CEO. So that's interesting as well. So Kevin Warren's sort of like our Jaime El High, and he's involved in the football stuff, but he has a football background, Kevin Warren. And Gino now back to pass, escapes the pass rush once, but not twice. Strip sack, fumble, and who has it? Nope, they're saying fourth down. So good job by Seattle recovering that one. Geno Smith not able to find a receiver. Strip sack, fumble, but Seahawks fell on the ball. Able to get out once, but not twice. And that is definitely a fumble, that's for sure. Strip sack, fumble. 91 had a chance at it, missed it. And then the offensive lineman just fell on it. So Bears have been getting decent pressure on Geno Smith all night, whether it be Jake Martin or some of these other dudes. This defense, the Bears defense, that's the thing is like the Bears defense isn't bad at all. They got some pieces. They got some wide receivers. They got running backs. They got a good tight end. It all really comes down to Caleb and how you can develop him into a good quarterback in this league. We'll see what general managers and uh, coaches want to take a look at that. Now, the interesting thing about Pete Carroll going to the Bears, he was able to win with Geno. He was able to win with Russell Wilson. He was able to win with Matt Leinart. He was able to win with Jordan Palmer at USC. So there's 4 quarterbacks where Pete Carroll can go, yeah, I'm a defensive guy, but you know what? I know about offense too. I was able to win with Geno Smith. I was able to win with Russell Wilson Super Bowl. I was able to win with Matt Leinart in Southern California, and with Jordan Palmer as well. So I've been able to do it over the years with 4 different quarterbacks. Everybody remembers him with Russell Wilson, but he had success with all those guys. relatively good success. So he can make the case I'm the guy to develop Caleb Williams. You don't need a Cliff Kingsbury. You don't need what Ben Johnson. You need old Gum Chomper in charge. GCIC, Gum Chomper in charge. The GCIC, the Gum Chomper in charge. You know, Pete Carroll could say that to the McClaskeys, the owners, and to Ryan Poles and to Kevin Warren. So now, like, I wonder if people in Chicago think Kevin Warren is doing a good job or if they like him being involved in the football operations. Or do they say, leave Ryan Poles alone, Kevin Warren? Because he's the Bears version of Jaime El High, basically. But he has more of a football background. So you wonder about that one. Some of these teams do have an involved president. The Atlanta Falcons do. I think the Rams do to some extent. Some of these teams do that, and it's usually like a power struggle. It's like who's got the power in this organization over here. All right, Caleb Williams back on the field now, first and 10, 8:13 left in the third quarter, 6-3. The Seahawks still on top. We got a 2-by-2 formation. He takes it under center, gives it to the running back DeAndre Swift, gets about a 3-yard gain on first down. As the clock ticking away on the Bears season. I guess we should technically be rooting for the Bears, right? We want them to get up to a fifth win. That'll, I think, help us just in case we win. Or do we want to see the Seahawks fall to 8-8 just because I got no ill will toward Geno Smith, to be honest. Williams now back to pass, can't find anyone, scrambles out of the pocket and now has to run for it. So there he goes, running and picks up a nice chunky yardage. First down, Chicago Bears. Yeah, Harlan, that's exactly right. So I think that's a point in Carroll's favor. He could say, look, I won with him in college. Look what he did in the pros. He wasn't exactly lighting it up, even though he was a high draft pick. And I think, didn't he win the Heisman also? So he's like, look, I could do it with Matt frickin' Leinart. Not exactly Joe Montana. Not exactly John Elway over here. Lefty Matt Leinart. All right, Williams back to pass now. Screen pass over to DeAndre Swift. That's a hold. That they're not going to call holding there. Huh. Well, anyway, lost a yard, so that was not good. That's the problem with screen passes. If they don't work, you're not going to get much yardage, and you might lose yardage. Boy, a guy like Keenan Allen's got to be pretty frustrated in this offense, I would think. How come no one's talking about frustration with Keenan Allen? Oh, because he's not a young guy like G5 is. Or DJ Moore, for example. They got three really good wide receivers on this team. Williams just doesn't seem to be able to get him the ball consistently. There's Keenan Allen for a 2-yard gain. Not exactly explosive. 3rd and 8. Sean Johnson comes in with the Guardian cap helmet. Those haven't exactly taken off. Some players you see him wear them in the games. They say it reduces concussions by a certain percentage, but they're not real popular right now. Leinart won the Heisman. I was right. Yeah, so that's something that Pete Carroll could say. Look, this guy, I got him to the. Oh boy, there's another sack for Caleb. He can't find people downfield. He can't find people downfield. He's just getting creamed. No bueno, Caleb. No bueno. and they know to rush. Like they know they're going to bring an all-out blitz. They've done that several times. Boy, and that guy is so big. Reed, formerly of the Packers, that's a big dude. That's a big dude hitting you. You know, and that's something. Even Anthony Richardson said this week. You know, when these guys hit you in the NFL, it's different. You know, he was talking about. He said he never used to get sore at all, which is unusual. You know, as athletic and big, as many hits he took in college and whatnot. He said I never used to get sore no matter what. Now with these guys hitting me, it's a whole other ball game. Uh, but yeah, Caleb just not there yet. So some development. So yeah, so that's what I think Pete Carroll would say. He would be like, "Look, I'm not known as offensive guru like some of your other candidates, but here's what I can do. Here's what I have done. Russell Wilson was a third round pick. They had just signed Matt Flynn to a big, huge contract, and they took this third or fourth round pick. I think it was third round. Russell Wilson, undersized, et cetera, and turned him into a Hall of Famer, basically. I think Russell Wilson's going to the Hall of Fame. And he said, I could win with Matt Leinart. I could win with Russell Wilson, a third round pick who's undersized, you know, and we made it to the Super Bowl, what, twice, and we won it once, and we should have won a second time. Okay, but we should have run beast mode, but we didn't for whatever the reasons. And, nonetheless, two Super Bowls, one win. We got a Heisman Trophy winner. I could win with, Leinart, Palmer, Geno Smith, Russell Wilson, you name it, any kind of quarterback. I'm the guy for Caleb. I'll change the culture. Blah blah blah. Right? That's what Pete Carroll's going to pitch him on. And when you think about it, that sounds pretty good for us too. Whether it's Aaron Rodgers or Tyrod Taylor or Justin Fields or Jordan Travis, whoever it is, you got to make the most of it. Not going to be able to draft Patrick Mahomes every year. You know, not going to be able to get Josh Allen. Although we had access to Josh Allen, we had access to Patrick Mahomes. We chose other people because we're dumb. We could have had Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Could have had them all. Could have been Jets. Could have been Jets, but we chose other people. We chose other people because we can't develop people. We can't develop these people. We can't come up with game plans to suit their strengths and downplay their weaknesses. We just can't figure it out. We got a system. If you can't run it, you're a bum, we say. No bueno. No bueno. All right, 6-3 in this exciting ball game. Neither offense can really get going. Maybe the rain is having a bigger effect than it seems. Gino now throwing a bomb that's way off target. Neither quarterback um, really having any kind of success here in this ball game. So maybe the weather is more of a factor than it seems with the sound off. Flight says, I think we would have ruined Josh Allen if he came here. Well, we probably wouldn't have been patient enough, right? There required some patience there. But he did win in his second. He won 10 games his second season. So let's not forget that. He was good enough to do that. And what happened for Allen, right? His first problem was accuracy. So what did he do? After his second season, he went and saw a throwing guru. I think it was Tom House. I could be wrong, but he went to see a throwing guru in the off season, fixed his mechanics, and then he became accurate. And then after that, what was his problem? He was turning the ball over too much. And then this season he's not turning the ball over at all, so he's just elite at everything now. But the question is, would we have won 10 games in the second season to give us the patience to stick with him, etc.? And he probably would have fixed his accuracy problems because he did that on his own, pretty much. Oof. Wow. So Smith and Jigba with a nice grab there. Is that a fumble? No, he was down. with a nice grab there, but it was almost picked off at the same time. So a risky throw. Smith and Jigba makes a nice catch and then almost fumbles it, but he was almost certainly down. Let's see. Yeah, he's definitely down. Salami says, I'm concerned about how good JJ will be next year. JJ? Tremaine Johnson? Looking at A-Rod, Cousins, and Williams seem to take a while to really be. Yeah, he should be fine. He should be fine. So Cousins, which Williams are you talking about? Williams? I don't know about Williams. Cousins, I'm not sure his Achilles played much of a problem. He kept throwing the ball to the other team. What does his Achilles have to do with it? A-Rod, A-Rod had other injuries. So A-Rod had a hamstring that was almost. They said A-Rod's hamstring was as bad of a hamstring pull as you could have without it coming off the bone, and he played with it. And he had knee and ankle and stuff like that also. So I don't, and he's 40 years old. So it's a lot different when you're older. JJ really should be fine from the Achilles. Now, if he's going to be a great player or not is up for debate, but I mean, he's good. So I wouldn't worry too much about it, Salami. We got a lot of other things to worry about. We got to figure out what type of defense we're running. There's going to be a lot of people that need to be replaced this year, next year. Williams, the wide receiver, Mike Williams. Well, Mike Williams had ACL, and Mike Williams couldn't run a route. Mike Williams didn't want to stay on the red line, so we had to get rid of him. I don't think he's physically limited, Mike Williams. He had an ACL, but I don't think he was physically limited. He just refused to stay on the red line. That bastard. All right, throws it out to the tight end. And was it a turnover? No, it seemed like he was down. They're calling him down. Williams was the receiver. Yeah, but he had an ACL. He didn't have an Achilles. And I don't think he was physically limited. I just think he didn't get along. He just didn't run the right routes. He's not exactly doing anything with the Steelers either, by the way. He's not exactly lighting it up with the Steelers. He's had like 4 or 5 receptions this whole time. Oh, they should not have blown that dead. Why are they blowing these things dead anyway? They're supposed to let it play out. What? And they're saying it's a touchdown? But they blew it dead. What's going on here? Wait a minute. McDonald has to say you can't blow it dead and then say he scored a touchdown. What's going on here? What is going on here? Now, if they didn't blow it dead, then that's fine. But didn't they blow this play dead here? What are they talking about? Now, it's clearly a fumble, but because Johnson there, one punches it out. He's not down. It's clearly a fumble. But didn't they blow it dead? That's what I would be arguing. If you blow it dead, you can't let them have a touchdown. That's why you should always just run it, keep going. What? What do they do? What are these people doing? Yeah, he caught a game-winning pass, but he's caught like 5 passes the whole time. But the point is he's fine physically. But JJ is young. Cousins and A-Rod are old for an athlete. And age is a big factor, and he had the full procedure. He didn't have the speed bridge procedure that A-Rod. He had a different procedure. A-Rod had the speed bridge, which is riskier and allows you to come back faster. JJ didn't need to come back faster, so I wouldn't worry about JJ too much. And we have to figure out what type of defense we're running anyways. See where JJ fits in. but he'll be back on the roster, so that's a roster spot that's filled. I mean, what do we do with Clemens? I mean, Clemens has another year left on his contract where he makes $1 million. So it's like he's cheap, but do we really want him here, even for $1 million? Do we really want him here for $1 million? Do we really want him here for like any amount of money? And the man literally does nothing every game except commit penalties. And the coaching staff will tell you how great he is. Oh yeah, Michael Clemens. Yeah, he can do it all. He can rush the passer. He sets the edge. He gonna be something really great. Nope, he stinks. Stinks. Stinks on ice. What exactly? I'd like to know the inside story on how Bobby Salads allowed Joe Douglas to hollow out the defensive line this year. How in the world did they do that? They know they need high quality defensive linemen for this defense to work at all. And they the guys that they got were stunk. Were terrible. What the hell happened? Why did they think they could just hollow out the defensive line this year and that we'd be fine? From Sala to the coaches to Douglas, they all knew this. They all knew you need 8 really good defensive linemen, at least 8. And they went into the season with like 3 or 4. How is that even possible? How did that happen? Sharon says our coaches are stupid. Yeah, but they at least knew that much, Sharon. They would tell us that over and over and over again. Remember, Bobby Salads would say that all the time. We go as our defensive line goes. We roll 8 deep. I mean, he knows this. How did he forget? Did he think he could just take anybody and make them into a great defensive lineman? I mean, it's ridiculous. Same thing with Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas knows better than this. That's something I'd like to know the true story about. What really happened about that? Something strange happened. Did they all have lobotomies at the same time? Simultaneous lobotomies? I mean, it's craziness. All right, so now Caleb, so they gave the ball to the Bears, I guess, is what actually happened. Here's an RPO. Okay, that's something Caleb can do. Um, so I guess they gave the ball to the Bears, but they didn't give them the touchdown. So that makes sense. Whether it was because I think they whistled it dead. You can't give a guy a touchdown after you whistle it dead. That's not fair. And so it's 3rd and 1. Let's see if they can convert this. What do you got for a third and a long one, Thomas Brown? But he goes back to pass and he finds a receiver. Okay, very good. Nicely done. Keenan Allen for 3 yards. Good job. But I hope that's not true, man. Like, what about Coach Whitecotton? You think he really sat there and said, "Yeah, I can make Lakey Fotu great. I can make Michael Clemens great." I mean, if so, he's really overvaluing his abilities, Coach Whitecotton. You know what I mean? Another blitz, another sack. There he goes. Down again. Lost about 15 yards. So I think you're seeing the blueprint with Caleb. Send blitzes. Blitz-a-palooza. Anytime you're in need, just blitz the hell out of him. This is on the 49-yard line, so he comes from middle depth even. Nobody picks him up. He loses, wow, 15, 16 yards. That's no bueno. 2nd down and 24. That's also no bueno. Who knows what goes on behind the scenes? That's what I'm saying, Salami. We need to figure it out. It'll make good book once people decide to leave the business forever. Won't hear what you think is the truth because people want to get new jobs. Yeah, it's going to take a while, I guess. Joe Douglas. We'll have to wait for the Joe Douglas autobiography or something. The true inside story on why we hollowed out the defensive line. So they coach the players down. Well, I mean, I think I mean, and somebody said to Joe Douglas, and Joe Douglas pulled the trigger on Javon Kinlaw being, a major part of the defense instead of somebody that you signed for 2 million and play him 10 snaps. They said no, no, no. This guy is going to be big time, Javon Kinlaw. Meanwhile, San Francisco runs the same exact defense we do, and he was not big time for them. But he was going to come here and he was going to do something. Let me tell you. I mean, what is going on with this? When Johnson wanted Reddick, they couldn't keep Reddick and the player they traded to Denver. They could have. Well, they could have, Harlan. They decided not to, which was stupid. They very easily could have. Very easily. I don't know if Johnson wanted Reddick. I think Douglas wanted Reddick after he couldn't sign Clowney and Calais Campbell. We tried to sign Calais Campbell. He didn't want to come here. Clowney did want to come here, but he got a great offer from Carolina that we didn't match. So that was a problem right there. We should have just signed um, Clowney for a little bit more money. He would have come here. And then after those things happened, then we went and pivoted to trade for Reddick, which obviously was a terrible idea in retrospect. Just a terrible, terrible idea. So yeah, it was a problem. I saw it coming from a long way away. Kinlaw, Lecky Fotu, those decisions were terrible decisions. Bringing back Solomon Thomas was a terrible decision. These people needed upgrades. Like Solomon Thomas, we needed to upgrade from Solomon Thomas from last year. Instead, we replaced Solomon Thomas with Solomon Thomas, who's a year older and not going to get any better. Great guy, terrible player. And then we decided to complement that with Lakey Fotu and Javon Kinlaw and Hassan Reddick eventually when we couldn't sign Calais and or Clowney. So then we went to the Reddick maneuver. And then we thought we were good and we could trade JFM, which was totally stupid. Totally stupid. No bueno. All right. Second and 24, not a situation you want to be in. Caleb Williams back to pass, looks over the middle, pass knocked down by Nwosu. So it has not been a spectacular night for Caleb Williams. Third down and 24. Let's see what old Coach Brown to has on the call sheet for this one. The old third down and 24 situation. Probably a dump off pass. See how many yards you can get. Yeah. See now the Seahawks are only going to rush 3. Interesting. Drop an extra man in coverage. Yeah, they just drop it off to DJ Moore. He's able to get 2 yards. Third down and 24, you get 2 yards. That's not good. Not good, Caleb. Not good. All right, so the offensive struggles continue for the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams shaking his head. They got 3 points. But then again, the Seahawks, who are fighting for their playoff lives, have a grand total of 6 points. Fourth down and 22. The people of Chicago want Ben Johnson, and they want him badly. Or Cliff Kingsbury, perhaps, to make something out of this guy. And they'll be starting at about the 13-yard line. Salami says people won't hire employees who will air the dirty laundry in public and put their name on it. That's true. Yeah, that's true. But you wonder why they also put it out there anonymously. What are they getting out of it? Now, there could be power dynamics at play. Maybe Greg Nemej thinks if he puts something out to Diana Rossini anonymously, he could get it. He could get into the conversation to be the general manager or something. Like that's something to really think about. Why is nobody talking about Greg Nemej as a general manager candidate? He's our director of pro personnel. Nobody's talking about him. There's a reason why nobody's talking about him because he stinks on ice. You don't hear his name thrown around in circles, GM circles. Why is that? Probably because he stinks, you know. And if that's the case, then why is he still here? There's a guy who needs to be out of here. We need an upgrade there. We need to upgrade the cap people. We need to upgrade the pro personnel people. We need to upgrade the college scouting people. We need upgrades all across the board. The whole damn thing. But nobody's talking about that. Can't get rid of Greg Nemej. I mean, how many people are going to want to work in New Jersey, anyways? You got to come to the stadium every day, and it's in New Jersey, so not exactly a prime location where people want to work. That's just the way it is. So yeah, lots going on. This game is about as exciting as watching paint dry. 6-3. We got it going on here. Boy, the Chicago Bear fans got to be thinking this. I'm not sure about this kid here. Yeah, I mean he's not showing anything. Race for the NFC West: Rams 9-6, Seattle 7-8, Seattle 8-7, Arizona 7-8. Remaining games. So yeah, Seattle, even when they're fighting for their playoff lives, have 6 points going into the fourth quarter. 14 minutes remaining. Seattle has put up a total of 2 field goals while holding the Chicago Bears to 1 field goal. It's 2 field goals to 1 field goal. Geno Smith calling an audible now at the line. Almost has a little trouble there with the snap. Charbonnet, 1 yard gain. No bueno. This is a defensive battle for the ages. If you love defense, you love this kind of a game. Amazon gotta love a good 6-3 ball game in the fourth quarter. Amazon ratings got to be through the roof with this one. Second down and 9. 11 personnel. Metcalf in motion, left to right. They throw a screen over to Smith and Jigba. Slips a little bit, but still able to get about 7 or 8 yards, 6 or 7 yards. Be third down and 2.5 or 3 yards here. Can they keep the drive alive? Probably if they score a touchdown, the game is probably over for all intents and purposes on this drive. However, if they are not able to convert, then Chicago is very much alive in this one. If they can get at least one drive worth of competent offensive play. They remain in 11 personnel here on third down and 3, so it seems likely to be a pass. Smith is changing up the play at the line, calling an audible. 4 seconds left on the shot clock, play clock. And he gets the ball, hands it off to Chardonnay, and he's stuffed. That didn't work. No bueno, McDonald. Who's the OC of the Seahawks? Who's calling these plays for the Seahawks, anyways? For Mike McDonald. He's a defensive guy. Who's his OC? I forget. Let me know in the chat who's the OC for the Seattle Seahawks. Used to be Shane Waldron, not anymore. He went over to the Bears and then he got fired. Not sure who they replaced him with on McDonald's staff. Here's Dixon with the punt. Dixon the Kickson. Down. And nice return. They'll get the ball about the 38-yard line. So good field position now for Chicago. Let's see if Caleb Williams can come through. At this point in the ball game, 11:43 left in the fourth quarter. The offense has been mostly stagnant and dormant, but maybe they can come alive for one drive here in the fourth quarter. Can we see a touchdown? Can we see somebody put the ball in the end zone? Just throw up a Hail Mary to you got these wide receivers. Caleb Williams doesn't seem very good at using them, at least not in this ball game. As we continue On with the NFL during the holidays. Devontae Adams, we wanted Devontae Adams in our commercials. Devontae Adams wanted a Taco Bell in his house, so we gave him one. Wonder if he has a Taco Bell in his New Jersey house. Does he have a New Jersey house, or is he still living with Aaron Rodgers? You know who should be living with Aaron Rodgers? Garrett Wilson. How about that? Get all the wide receivers in Aaron Rodgers' house. Pretty sure he could accommodate them. Probably got a 10-room mansion. Yeah, how about put all the wide receivers in there? Let you guys stay together all the time. How about that? You know, get Alan Lazard in there so he can stop dropping passes at a 20% clip. How about that? Put a tight end in there. Maybe we could figure out how to use a tight end for once. Maybe we could block somebody. Maybe we could get a tight end who could put up a nice game every once in a while. Yeah. Nobody knows the OC of the Seattle Seahawks. Trivia question. Trivia question. Who's the OC of the Seattle Seahawks? Leonard Williams double teamed on 32 of 23 pass rushes. Well, that's when you know you're good, when they got to double team you. And he's still getting home a decent amount. That dude has been a pretty big monster in the league for a while now. After leaving the Jets, of course. Leo, Leo Dubs, they call him. So 11:43 left in this ball game. First down and 10, actually P and 10, possession and 10. The Bears are down 3 points to the Seattle Sea Chickens, and Caleb Williams, the mouth guard chewer, now in charge. 11 personnel. Odunze with a shift. Let's see if they can get the ball moving on this drive. They hand it off to DeAndre Swift, and he gains about 8 yards. That's a nice gainer on first down. Should be 2nd and 2. All right, now we're cooking. Let's really get moving. Caleb Williams fakes a pass and hands it off to DeAndre Swift, who gets crushed. But it should be a first down. Looks like as the clock ticks away, down toward 11 minutes remaining. Ryan Grubb. Oh, yeah, Ryan Grubb. Well, I don't think he's letting his people eat, even though his name Grubb. All right, 3rd and inches. They did not give him the first down, so they hand it off to Rojo, who fights and gets a first down there. Good job, Rojo. Ryan Grubb. Well, if he got his bona fides based on what he did at University of Washington, those were some pretty stacked teams in terms of talent. So not so sure, you know, you can make the case that he can get the best out of anybody. All right, 1st and 10 now. About 10 minutes remaining. Williams from under center. Clock play clock down to 1. Gets it off, and another running play to Swift. And looks like the Bears are really committing to the run. Try and get a W out of this one. Really put a probably for all intents and purposes would knock the Seahawks out. One would think with 8 losses. Of course, the Bears fans are probably rooting for a loss at this point. A 5th win for them is pretty meaningless, unless, of course, Caleb Williams just starts, dazzling. But he has not been dazzling in this game so far. 2nd and 8, man in motion, 11 personnel. Now it does an orbit motion, and they fake it to him and then throw a screen that looked really confusing and not very well executed. 3rd down and 8 now. Probably should have kept running the ball, Thomas Brown. They did an orbit motion and then wanted to do a screen to Swift, but the pass was behind him, so that is not a good place for a pass to be. Mr. Caleb, and running back could not bring it. So third down and 8. We got 11% once again. Really good from Cole Kmet. Oh boy. Anytime it's like third and long, he just gets sacked. Like he can't find anybody. This is downright Zach Wilson-esque, man. And then he just comes off the field like shaking his head, like what's going on? The fans want to see their team win. No, what kind of? I mean, I think they'd rather see Caleb play well than anything, and that's not happening. Not tonight, anyway. Looks like he looks like he just can't be a pocket passer tonight, or so far in his career. He's got to either be scrambling around or throwing screen passes. Otherwise, he just gets sacked. This one just continues to be a lackluster performance by the offensive sides of the ball. Thomas Brown is certainly not making a great case for himself to become the head coach next year. I think they're probably going to move on from that idea, but you can't really blame him too much. The guy went from quarterback coach to OC to head coach. I mean, that's ridiculous. So I'm sure he'll land on his feet, but he's not, really making the case that he's going to be the guy to unlock Caleb Williams. So 6-3 ball game as we move along. Day after Christmas. And Thomas Brown not really acquitting himself that well. Ryan Grubb not really acquitting himself that well. I mean, they might squeak out a win, but this is not looking good for the Sea Chickens. That's for sure. I mean, they are not. Now their defense is looking pretty good, you know. So the fans are probably saying, "Well, we hired Mike McDonald. He's a defensive guy, and our defense looking pretty good right now." Uh, but what about the offense? I mean, is there any thought that they're going to move on from Geno Smith? I don't think so. I'd have to look up his contract. What's Geno Smith's contract? I mean, he's not looking too good, man. Against a team that's pretty much out of it, that is out of it. You're putting up 6 points. I mean, come on now. Are they going to move on from Geno Smith or what? That's what I want to know. The Bears. All right, let's see what Geno can do. Can he put this game away? If they score a touchdown here, the game is pretty much going to be put away on ice. Oh, that looks like it's offsides on the Bears. Salami says 3 options to develop Caleb: Kingsbury, Johnson, Carroll. Yeah, I think they would probably prioritize those as Johnson, Kingsbury, Carroll. They could probably get one of those. Question is, would they want Vrabel? Would Vrabel want them, etc.? Seems to be consensus is that the Bears would like Johnson or Kingsbury, really one of those two. and it's basically all about Caleb, obviously. And I would think they could get them. I mean, get one of them at least. There's a pass to Metcalf. Did he catch it or did he not catch it? That's the question. First long pass we've seen in a while out of Gino. It was low. It was caught. Yes. Good job by DK. Attaboy. Let's get a touchdown out of here and then keep on rolling. Rolling, rolling, rolling. But I mean, where else is Kingsbury going to go? Is there another fit for Kingsbury that's better than that? And Ben Johnson's their number one. Johnson could stay. He's going to be the belle of the ball, everybody's saying, so he could have his choice. Ben Johnson of jobs, probably. Depends how many are open, actually. But is Kingsbury going to want to go to Jacksonville, for example? Is, you know, is Kingsbury really all that hot and heavy to be a coach, be a head coach no matter what? Or does he want to go to only certain circumstances? Like, all right, if he can go with Caleb, okay, and the team is otherwise has a lot of good pieces on it, okay, that sounds good. But if I got to go to Jacksonville, the roster's not maybe not as good as a healthy Chicago roster. All right, Smith back to pass now, getting flushed out. Did he make the catch? Yeah, looks like Noah Fant was able to grab that one. Turbo Duran is here. Hello. Good to see you. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, Turbo Duran. Good to see you. You know what I mean? So it seems to me that Chicago can probably get one of the two, Johnson or Kingsbury. Seems like. I don't know. You never know what Cliff Kingsbury wants to do and how much he's really interested in just any head coaching job. I mean, he's got a good gig now. Got a good young quarterback, on a team. Dan Quinn's the head coach, and they're doing much better than anybody expected. Charbonnet gets about 3 or 4 yards there. They're doing much better than expected. Maybe he just wants to kind of stay there. He's got Jaden Daniels. They're performing well. Does he really want to move up and deal with all that head coaching stuff? He had a poor go of it over there in Arizona. He was doing okay for a while, and then they kind of fell apart with Kyler. Um, or does he want to be selective? So I don't know. Reports have not come out about that. We don't know what's going on inside the mind of one Cliff Kingsbury. But that would be a good backup plan. Then those two don't work out. Then you go with Carroll, I guess, or Vrabel if you can get him. I don't know what kind of interest Vrabel would have in Chicago. But it is an interesting challenge no matter what. They're one of the legacy blue blood teams. If you could turn it around, you'd be a hero, similar to the Jets in a certain way. Turbo says, I would not take the Bears job. Well, the Bears have a good roster, and it's a matter of if you think Caleb can do it or not. That's really what it is. Like this game, he looks pretty bad, but you know, he's a rookie. Rookies often do look bad, and then they turn out fine sometimes, and sometimes they don't. So it's really all about the evaluation of Caleb. Now, maybe Cliff had Caleb, remember, at USC. So does that mean he believes in him? We don't know. Maybe he knows him from USC and is like, nah, that guy's not going to do it. Not that dude. So I don't know. And he has a good situation where he's at. He has the quarterback. He has a good team that's going to go to the playoffs, it looks like, and they're probably only going to get better. And they're going to have a new stadium in Washington in 5 years or so. So, there's a lot of good things going. They have new ownership over there. So they got a lot of good things going on with the Redskins. So I would think Kingsbury's going to be selective. Why not? He's probably very well compensated. He's got a good situation. If you could turn the Jets around, you would be Superman. Yeah, well, that's the challenge. It's like if you're able to do it, you know, uh, you'll be a legend. You'll be legendary. That's one of the reasons that situation's got to appeal to somebody like Pete Carroll, right? What if Pete Carroll was the one who came to the Jets and he turned it around and won a Super Bowl with the Jets? I mean, he would be a freaking legend. So that's got to be appealing to him. He's already got his bona fides. He's already got his Super Bowl ring, right? He's already got all that kind of thing. Maybe he just wants to give this thing a shot, right? So like, yeah, Caleb Williams. So like, that's what I'm saying. You got to, if you don't believe in Caleb, then you don't take this job. Yeah, I don't think, because I mean, he's just a rookie right now. If you take this job and you don't believe in Caleb, then no, you shouldn't take this job if you don't believe in Caleb for sure. So Cliff had him at USC, but that's no guarantee that he believes he's uh, he's going to be the guy. So yeah, if you don't believe in Caleb, you don't take this job. But we don't know how Ben Johnson or Cliff Kingsbury thinks about it, or Pete Carroll for that matter, who's been mentioned this week for this job. So let's see, maybe he could do something on this drive. Here's an RPO where he take runs. We know he can run, so that's something he can do. RPO, 5 minutes left. I mean, if they go down and score a touchdown, it'd probably take enough time off the clock to where they can win this ball game. So, let's see if he can put a drive together. Maybe they need to run more RPOs for Caleb. And maybe they need to reshape the offense and do different kinds of things. Here's a running play up the middle with DeAndre Swift. That's a first down. I don't think the Jets really have much of a shot to upset the Bills, but anything could happen. Anything could happen. Our defense is just too bad, and I don't think they're going to be resting people. So I would say probably not. Caleb Williams now back to pass again, almost gets sacked now, gets out of the pocket and runs around, and he's going to get, oh my goodness. He's all right. He's all right. That's the other thing with these running guys, man. They take so many hits, but he's all right. He popped right back up. No problems. I've read that there is trouble with Josh Allen. What trouble? He has an injury. He has a left hand injury and left hand, left elbow, but he's fine. I mean, he'll play. He always plays. And I think he's going to relish playing against us like he, usually does. Plus, I think they're not locked into the 2 seed. If I remember correctly, I don't think they're locked into the 2 seed. I think they want to keep the 2 seed. So therefore they want to win. So therefore Josh Allen's going to play. That's what I think. Now, if they are locked into the 2 seed and doesn't matter what happens in the game, they might rest him because why chance it? But I think there is something for them to play for. So therefore, I think he will play, and therefore I think he will kill us like he normally does. MVP is looking like Lamar or Josh, depends how the final stats come out, but looking like Lamar right now. 3rd and 2, again, Caleb can't find anybody, and he has to scramble and gets a yard on 3rd and 2. That's insufficient for a first down. But they're going to go for it because why not? You're down 3, 4th down and 1. Let's just do a running play and maybe pick this up or something. A few years ago, fans wanted to erect a statue to JD. Yeah, JD was doing good until the Rodgers debacle. Think about it. All the bad decisions from JD happened after Rodgers came, right? Pretty much. Not all the bad. I mean, no GM is perfect, but all the head scratchers happened after Rodgers. So I think the money men really took over at that point. They said, get all the former Packers, you know, get this one, get Billy Turner, get this one, get that one. There were just so many head scratching decisions made, and all because of Aaron frickin' Rodgers. That was the key decision that led us to where we are now. and turned out to be the wrong one as soon as he tore his Achilles. Turned out to be the wrong one. Who was getting the number one pick, Raiders or Giants? Yep, definitely the Raiders or the Giants for sure. Probably the Giants. They've looked the worst. The Giants have looked the worst. I mean, how do you think John Mara feels at this point in time? He's got a blue blood franchise. Man, the Bears can't even run a play. They're yelling at each other. This is not looking good for Thomas Brown at all. And the Giants, they have a good owner, and they can't get it, figure anything out. Now, one of the things as Jet fans we got to root for is that everybody, for fewer firings. We don't want people getting fired. So you got to hope Shane and Dayball, don't get fired, because the less openings there are, the more candidates for us. So the Bears are embarrassing, and now they're punting. I mean, why would you? Well, I guess you'd punt here, try to hold them. I guess it's 2:14 left. I just would have went for it on 4th and 5, and now they're doing something else. We got another timeout taken. This is not exactly the greatest display of efficient football playing in this game. This is kind of, I mean, we're seeing some of the teams, some of the bad play right now. So one of the things that's good about doing some watch alongs here on this channel of different teams other than the Jets, you get to see that we're not the only embarrassing team out there. There's some bad football being played, by other teams as well. It's just kind of enlightening that, uh, it's not just the Jets. We got company in the ghetto, as I say. Now they are going for it. As I said, they should go for it. Why not? There's 2:14 left. Try to convert. Get 5 freaking yards. Let's go, Caleb. Let's go now. Okay, they do an all-out blitz as you should have expected, and he gets it away to DJ Moore. There you go. See, it's not that hard. Atta boy. Now the Seahawks did their all-out blitz, which they did several times before, and they were able to get home on Caleb. This time, he's able to escape it and find a receiver. Atta boy. There you go. Good job. And that's the kind of play that you hope he can make far more often going forward, because previous iterations would have been a sack. And that's the way you get them to stop blitzing you, is you kill them with it. Kill them on the blitz. Oh no. He dropped- oh boy. Okay, well, he dropped the he dropped the geez, what is he doing now? Anyway, he dropped the ball and then he picks it up, tries to go and throw it, and he gets sacked. This man gets sacked so much. I tell you though, it's doesn't this remind you of Zach Wilson though? I mean, this we saw this with Zach. I mean, we saw this exact thing. Now, Caleb, he's a rookie, so we'll see if he improves next year, but this is very Zach Wilson-esque to me. Running around, getting blitzed. He can't handle the ball when he gets, snapped to him. Can't handle the snap, puts the ball on the ground, can't see the field, can't find his receiver, double clutch, triple clutch. Oh no, here comes the pass rush. This is just rookie. I think that's why CJ Stroud was so amazing his rookie year, but he's taken a step back this year for some reason. Somebody want to explain CJ Stroud's step back other than sophomore slump? What happened to CJ Stroud? What happened to Trevor Lawrence after a promising rookie season? He took a couple of steps back. So I don't know. These quarterbacks, man. These quarterbacks. Nah, I don't drink beer, Turbo. I drink water. I got me some waters, man. I'm not much of a drinker anymore, man. Not much of a drinker anymore, except for water. But these days, if I do have a drink, it'll be wine. I'm more of a wine person. Give me a nice glass Cabernet Sauvignon. Get a little Chardonnay. Get a little Pinot Noir. You know, something like that. Beer, not much. I used to be a Guinness guy. I used to like to drink a nice Guinness. Something like that. But yeah, these days I'm just if I drink, it'll be a red wine. But mostly no drinking for me. All right. Well, I mean, what are we thinking the Chicago fans are thinking? Are they thinking that Caleb is like Justin Fields 2.0? Are they thinking we should have kept Justin Fields? What are they thinking? I guess they're probably thinking, well, he's a rookie and we'll get a new coach next year. Stella Rosa Red. Yeah. All right. Now, Caleb, 2 minutes left. Second and 15. All right. Let's not get a sakalaka. Let's get some yardage here, buddy. All right. Throw a screen pass. All right. Uh, 2 yards. That's no bueno. Third and 13. Oy, this is really, I don't know, man. Some of these coaches got to be watching this dude, wondering what is going on. If he can't perform from the pocket, the question is, can he perform from the pocket? Can he never perform from the pocket? Is this a temporary thing? Can he learn how to do it for next year? Or is this just who he is? That's for the well-paid talent evaluators to find out. That looked like it was a false start, but they didn't call it. Can't find anyone. Can't find anyone. Triple throw now running around. Why can't this man find anybody? Oh, he throws a miracle ball to a Dunze. I mean, he has three good wide receivers. Is nobody ever open? I mean, run around, throw a miracle ball. This is exactly what Zach Wilson did. This is Caleb Williams, Zach Wilson, same thing. Run around, throw a miracle ball. I understand he's got three good wide receivers. He has a good tight end, and they're never open. Do they not know how to run routes? I mean, Keenan Allen is known as an excellent route runner. Roma Dunze is known as a great wide receiver, when he came out of the draft. DJ Moore, high quality receiver. So these guys are not able to get open ever, or I don't understand it. Yeah, I think that's right, Salami. If you're going to drink something, I always feel like the natural beverage of wine is better if you're going to drink an alcoholic beverage. Beer is cooked. There's no nutritional value to beer. And now they're having trouble with the timeouts and people yelling and screaming. Oh, this is hard to watch, man. This is really hard to watch. This is hard to watch. I don't understand how you have Roma Dunze, Keenan Allen, and DJ Moore and Cole Kmet as your receivers and good running backs who can catch the ball too. And you can't find anybody. I mean, he's sitting there going second hitch, third hitch, fourth hitch. What is he doing? It's weird. I mean, at least with Zach Wilson, we could say our wide receivers were bad for the most part. I mean, it's hard to say that with this crew. I mean, these are good pass catchers he's got going out there. I mean, what is this? He's throwing the ball out of bounds? I don't want to say he's a bust, man, but I'm just not seeing I'm not seeing high quality play here. I mean, I don't know what you want the coaching to do, Salami. Like, The guys are out there in their routes. These are good receivers who are known as good route runners. Now we'd have to look at the all 22 to make sure, right? But I'm assuming they know how to run routes. I mean, Keenan Allen's a veteran. He's known as an awesome route runner. Roma Dunze, uh, DJ Moore. I mean, these are high quality receivers. What, they don't know how to run routes? They throw it to the open guy. Throw it. What is he? What's that? What is this guy doing? I don't understand how that's coaching, Salami. He just threw it to nobody. What is going on? Swamp Ranger. I mean, everybody had Caleb as the number one player coming out in the draft. Pretty much everybody, right? I mean, there's nobody who didn't have Caleb as the one overall. And he just can't seem to. I mean, this is Zach Wilson esque. Why don't they kick the field goal here? What are they doing? Tie the ball game. Why not? Can't they? Can't they kick a field goal? I just don't get this, man. These kids, I tell you, man, my new thing is these kids should stay in college as long as possible. Now with NIL money, this is my new thing with quarterbacks, especially quarterbacks. Stay in college. You know, you can get millions and millions of dollars through the NIL deals and you can develop there. The NFL is not a place for development really, especially with quarterback. Now, why don't they kick the field goal? It's 4th and 10. What are they doing? Oh my goodness. I mean, like this is Mickey Mouse stuff, man. But I think these kids need to really stay in college. You know, like all these kids, like Jalen Milrow, stay in college. Drew Allers going back. Um, who's the other guy? Quinn Ewers, go back. Anybody who has eligibility, go back. Develop in college. That way, when you come into the league, you're not doing this. He can't see the field. This is not this is not good. My goodness. I think guys at the college level now, 6-3. So the Seahawks get a win. Uh, the Seahawks get a 6-3 win that's basically handed to them from an incompetent Bears team. Holy smokes. But kids have to be looking at like Caleb Williams and Zach Wilson and Trey Lance and Justin Fields and all these people and just say and just go, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to stay in college. I'm going to stay in college. NIL money's here now. I can make millions of dollars in college. I don't have a financial need to go to the league, and I'm going to develop here. I'm going to stay here and develop." Now, I think Salami. I think you develop in college. You want to sit them for a year or two once they get there. Also, fine by me. Fine by me. But there's that model, and then there's the C.J. Stroud model and the Peyton Manning model. So in the NFL, when you're talking about models, yeah, it worked for Green Bay twice, miraculously, but the sit 'em and then play also hasn't worked for other guys, and also some guys who start right away, C.J. Stroud, Peyton Manning, many many others, start right away and do great. Jaden Daniels, right? Yeah. So the only negative is take a chance on getting hurt. But you're making millions of dollars, and if you get hurt, quote unquote, the chances that you get hurt and where you can't have a career is pretty low. So you do take a chance, but very few guys are going to have a Jordan Travis type injury or some type of injury where you can't come back. So everything is risk. I mean, would you rather I mean, look what Caleb Williams is going through now. He might, I mean, look what Zach Wilson went through. Look at Trey Lance. These guys may never develop. into what they could be. They have all the potential in the world, and they're never going to develop into what they could be potentially. So that's the only negative for staying in school. You might get hurt. But how many times does a guy get hurt where he can't have a career? Very few. But is it a risk? Yeah. Yeah, it's a risk. It's a risk. But that NIL money is pretty good, though. It's millions and millions of dollars. So it's not like, pennies. That's what I would do. But obviously, everybody has to make their own decisions. But I mean, this is not fun to watch with Caleb. Like, was that game fun to watch, Karate? To watch a kid go through what I mean, it looks ugly, dude. Like, this guy looks like he's not even ready to do anything. Now, maybe they should have sat him down, like Salami's saying, and, sit him behind somebody. I don't know, but I think you develop in college. That's what I think. And I think a lot of these kids are kind of doing the same thing or coming to the same realization. Look at all the kids going back. Aller's going back. The kid from LSU's going back. I think Jalen Milrow might go back. A lot of these kids are coming to this realization that development happens in college. Because in the NFL, they don't really have time to develop you, if you think about it. Robert Saleh used to say, the NFL train stops for no one. And that's true. It's like every week we have to get ready for an opponent and we have to put all of our coaches' brain power into how do we beat the snot out of somebody this week. You know, they're not thinking, how do we develop this kid? Unless you have a specific plan to do so, which I think more teams should have. Like you should have like a development coach, maybe. Yeah, Aikman, right? Aikman took 3 years. His first 2 years, he was terrible. Karate. Look at his stats; it's awful. And then his third year, he got some players and he became good, but he started right away. So there's no definitive way to do it, but I think the kids are going to look at all of this going on. There's a lot of these quarterbacks in college just looked at that game we just watched, and they're probably like, I don't want that to happen to me. That's embarrassing. That's an embarrassing game by Caleb Williams, number one overall pick. And everybody said he's going to the best situation he could possibly go to, right? He's set up for success, they said. This kid has the best situation. He's got receivers, he's got a tight end, he's got running backs, they've got a good offensive line. They said at the beginning of the year there's been injuries, that line has not been good. But in the beginning of the year, they said he's got a good, solid line. He's got everything he needs to succeed. The defense is even pretty good. And this is the product, and it's not the first game of the year. This is late in the season, and he still looks like hot garbage. This is bad. Now, maybe he's the type of kid who can, no problem with his confidence or anything, but I don't know. I'm just saying, I think we're going to see a lot more kids go back to school, and they're going to say, I'll develop in school. Thank you very much. I'll take the injury risk and just develop here because this is where development can happen. You know, I think we're starting to see it. All right. So thanks everybody for stopping by for this game, for the watch along. Appreciate everybody coming by and saying hello. Um, hit the like button on your way out if you wouldn't mind. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate that. If you're not new here and you're already subscribing, hit the bell so that way you get notified anytime I put out something new. And we'll see. Maybe we'll do another one of these on Saturday, and then on Sunday will finally be the Jets game. So we'll take a look at that, and we'll do Coffee with Frankie as always on Sunday, 10 a.m. Take a look at some Jets-oriented issues. But otherwise, thanks for everything, and see you guys next time. So long.